Yeah. Yeah, you guys thought. You thought. You were so close. You're so close. So close. So close, but unfortunately it just didn't work out, huh? Didn't work out. Hold on. I just recorded the Morj cast for tomorrow, so let me upload that. Yeah. It's a damn shame, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Never again. Never again. Alright. Here, let me just make sure this goes through. Wait, what the fuck? Hold on. Okay, okay. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. Give me a second, y'all. Alright. Alright, alright. Dennis says, bro, your hair is getting worse and worse. No, just let it grow out. Let it grow out. You'll see. You'll see soon. You'll see the vision. You just don't understand the vision. Ah, god damn it. I gotta send this shit. Alright, hold on. Hold on. Hold on now. Hold on. This shit's taking forever. First, let's get the stream likes up to 50 real quick. Let's get the stream likes to 50. Am I auditioning for Dune 3? That would be a good idea. That'd be a good idea. Hold on. God damn it, man. This shit's taking so long. But this is what happens when I gotta start the stream on time. If I gotta start the stream on time, that basically means that I gotta do it like this. Yeah. I gotta do it the complicated way. Okay. The fuck? Oh my god. There we go. What the fuck? Oh my god. This is taking so long. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. We're gonna get there in a second. Don't know what's happening here. Alright. Alright. Okay, please work. Please work. Please send this file. It's not a complicated file. Okay, okay. Alright, 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 alright. And now the next step, I have to download it here and then send it again. It's complicated. Alright. Does work? Fuck yeah. Alright. Gotta do shit on Slack real quick. And then the stream will be rolling in a second. Then the stream will be... Oh my god. What the fuck? Come on, man. Just give me something. Give me something. Give me a momentary break in this. Alright, Patreon. Alright, 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 alright. Okay. All right, all done. Now you all have my undivided attention. Before it was very much divided. All right, everybody. Let's get the stream likes up to 50 real quick because we're officially rolling. Morj, can you react to the 30-second teaser for Egghead? Looks like we may get 2 chapters per episode. Saturday, episode 1123, chapter 1089-90, and Sunday, episode 1124, chapter 1091 and 92. Are we getting 2 episodes back to back? Can someone confirm? I'll watch that. I'll watch that. Pachinti says, I'm a famous hairdresser. He looks nice. Thank you, Pachinti. I appreciate it. I think the hair looks fine now. I think it's getting to the point where it looks fine. I think I just need a little bit more. I think I need to ride it out like another month. And then it'll be an interesting spot. At the moment, still a little bit, I don't know. But I just need to ride it out one more month. Yeah, I'm down to watch the 30-second teaser. Are we getting back-to-back episodes next week? Because if so, I will watch back-to-back episodes. I'll watch back-to-back episodes for you guys. I will do it. April 5th and April 6th. Okay, yeah, I can do. Oh wait, that's 2 weeks from now. That's 2 weeks from now. I can do that. So we're actually moving apartments that weekend, but I'll be able to do it on the Monday. Joseph S says, Morj, when man bun? I'll do that soon. I'll do that soon as well. I gave it an attempt a couple weeks ago, or like a week and a half ago or something. It's still not quite there. It's still not quite there. All right. Let's get the stream likes up to 50 real quick. Let me watch the teaser. I'm down to watch the teaser. But we're going to do the teaser. Does it have new footage? Or is it just like showing what we already saw? Here, let me let me do this. One second. Okay, so if I do the screen share, it still does this other monitor. I don't know why it does that, but that's okay. That's okay with me. All right, here, let me put that shit up there. Egghead teaser it. All right. Wait, whoa. Almost went too crazy there. Hold on. That's not how we do it here. That's not how we do it. There we go. We got it. And we're going to mute audio just to be safe. All right. And we're going to turn down opacity. How do I turn down opacity again? Here we go. All right. Yeah. All right. There we go. Now it's viewable. All right, everybody, y'all ready? You like this? You like this setup? I like this setup. Everybody, if you like the setup, give the stream a thumbs up. Let's get the stream likes up to 50 real quick. Philly, thanks for being a Pirate King. Do you remember for 15 months, man? Yeah, we almost are at the time for new Pirate King submissions. I have a similar hair texture and had it very long a few years ago. You're truly right on the edge of greatness. I regret cutting mine all the time. Never sent one of these, and it's not about One Piece. Philly, thank you so much for coming through with that message, man. That encourages me so much. Right on the edge of greatness. I like the sound of that. Why'd you cut it? What did you do? What did you do to yourself? All right. You all heard it from Philly here first. All right. We're going to... Philly says that I got to keep it, so we're going to be keeping it. Hey, Morj, hope you're doing well. This is from Brim. Brim, thanks for the 5. I've always thought it was out of character for Loki to fall in love with Lola at first sight. I don't know. It just seems weird. I think we don't know Loki's true character just yet. I think that's part of the fun of it. I think we still don't know his true character. So we're just going to wait and see. Let's see what he was like. The big question was Lola's age, though, so we need to understand that a little bit better. Although I guess if Loki I think the logic everyone went with was that if Loki aged like a human... How old is Loki again? He's like 60? Is Loki 60? So in regular people years, he's like 20? How old's Loki? How old's Loki in real people years? And then what's that minus 14? All right, let's see. Interesting. Can I see one thing real quick? You know okay, so this is awesome. So I'm so happy. The fact that Genuinely, like, because you guys know I've been an anime complainer for a long time, a One Piece anime complainer for a long time. But it has always truly been simply because One Piece used to be my favorite fucking anime. It truly used to be one of my favorite anime. Um, it became unwatchable for me. I would love to be able to just watch One Piece. Like, I would love to be able to just watch the anime. I would love to be able to watch my favorite arcs, favorite series, etc., favorite scenes, or favorite, bits of the story in the anime. That would be so much fun. I literally cannot bring myself to do that. I've tried. Again, I went back and did with Wano. Egghead, I thought was a huge market improvement. Like, you guys had me watch the whole Hachinosu raid. It did not feel like work. It felt perfect. Whole Hachinosu raid, they really elevated that experience. If I could watch the whole One Piece anime going forward, and it's just like what they did with the Hachinosu raid, everything doesn't have to be that quality. That's obviously asking for way too much. But that sort of pacing, or at least figure out creative ways to pad time, or like make everything feel like, like it's not just like it's like I don't want to be able to like see the Matrix and literally see them trying to stall things out or come up with cringe bits to pad shit out, right? I just want to enjoy the anime the way I can enjoy any other anime, right? So if One Piece is going seasonal in general, that makes me so incredibly happy. I feel like the only thing I can think of right now is like, one, I'm definitely going to, I think I'm going to give it a shot, just trying to start watching the episodes in general. I think I'm going to start. And I'll start with reacting to the first 2 episodes from next weekend on Monday. If we like those, I might just regularly watch the anime going forward, because that's always been my only issue with the One Piece anime. I got into One Piece through the anime like the rest of you. Like, that was my favorite shit. If the anime was still paced the way that it once was, I would still be watching the One Piece anime episodes. It's just not the way it is anymore. The only thing I'll say is that, funnily enough, like, I'm so excited that they're finally going seasonal with this. Egghead, the section of Egghead that they're about to hit, now that I'm thinking about it, like, we all had mixed feelings about the Egghead climax. It was really strong in many ways, not as much in certain other ways. The one thing about the Egghead climax is that it doesn't actually... They're going to go all out with the budget and everything, and the pacing's going to be good, but it doesn't actually have good fights. That's the one tricky thing about the Egghead climax. It's a lot of skirmishes and, like, little ticky-tack things here or there. Like, the only 2 fights it really has is Luffy versus Kizaru and Zoro versus Lucci, right? Luffy versus Kizaru was like a fine fight in the manga. I feel like the anime could really elevate it. It was fine in the manga, but at the end of the day, it's not... Even if the anime really elevates it with Flash and everything like that, Luffy versus Kizaru, just the tone of it generally feels pretty light as well, so it's not that crazy serious. Like, they're both trolling a little bit, having fun a little bit. And I think at the time that Luffy versus Kizaru was happening in the manga, most people felt like, oh, this is like the warm-up fight for Luffy. Like, this isn't his final fight of the arc. Because we knew Saturn's coming, we knew Saturn's coming, and then after Saturn, like, all the Gorseys showed up. So it felt like Kizaru's just like the little warm-up fight. When Luffy versus Kizaru was about to start, people were really excited, don't get me wrong. Then as the fight started going, we kind of got the sense that, okay, this is like the precursor to the actual big battle, the Buster Call, Saturn arriving, everything. Then, like, the chapter that Luffy defeated Kizaru was also the chapter that Saturn first showed up on the island, and that was, like, a phenomenal character introduction. So at that point in time, everyone was kind of like, okay, Luffy versus Kizaru, that was kind of like a fine battle, but that's because we built up to something way crazier, like against Saturn and everything. Then it turned out, by the end of the arc, okay, no, Luffy versus Kizaru, that was kind of the best that we got, right? The next biggest fight was Zoro versus Lucci, and that was essentially an off-screen fight almost from beginning to end, right? So it's tricky because, like, I think they're going to go all out with the animation here, but it's not like the Hachinosu raid or, like, Law versus Blackbeard where we get a lot of juicy stuff to feast on. It's going to be... I think Luffy versus Kizaru will be the coolest fight that they've got coming up, unless I'm forgetting something, right? Because everything else, it's just, like, little exchanges with the Gorosei. Like, Luffy punches them, runs away, tries something, whatever. I think the next most extended fight scene I can think of, like, the little sequence I can think of was... It's like Luffy, Warcury does his big roar, then Warcury attempts to attack Luffy, Dory and Brogy block him, they knock Warcury back, then Saturn shoots some venom balls, and Luffy hits it back with a baseball bat, and then that's kind of the end of that sequence. And I think that's the next biggest action sequence or most extended action sequence in Egghead after Luffy versus Kizaru, unless I'm forgetting something. So that's the one tricky thing, which is like I'm very excited for the new pacing of the anime. I think that Egghead is not the best place to debut, like... No, I mean, what am I talking about? Like, Egghead in general, this section of the arc is really, really strong. The climax is really strong. I think it's just the anticlimactic finish to it where we don't really get to see much versus the Gorosei. That's the tricky part. So I can't think of any big... That's the thing. I guess what I'm saying is I can't think of any really big set pieces that are set to be animated here. But that doesn't mean that it's not going to be really enjoyable. So I'm still very excited. I'm just going to be happy to go back. If I can watch One Piece and it feels like a fucking normal seasonal anime, I'll just be very happy. Or it doesn't even have to feel like a normal seasonal anime. I think if One Piece could just go back to the pacing that it had even pre-time skip, I'd be fine with it. So if that's what we're getting, this is great. Like, I will watch the next 2 episodes, and if we're feeling it, then I'll keep watching them. Diaklia, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 27 months, man. Prediction, Sommers gets Zoro with his thorns. Sanji tries to save him and gets hurt, proving he actually loves Zoro. That'd be... I think some shippers would go crazy over that, but... I don't think we need that to prove he actually loves Zoro. I think, like, literally we already had scenes like this, right? Like, we had Sanji, like, put his life on the line for Zoro with the Kuma scene. Like, Sanji's actually done that several times throughout the story, so I think we're good. Also, Zoro not affected by Gunko's arrows. That would be fucking hilarious. That would be really, really funny. I would love that. That's a really funny idea. Also, let's get the stream likes up to 50 real quick. JWP, thanks for the 10. Kizaru versus Luffy is going to be the highlight plus Gorosei designs. Yeah, Gorosei designs, like their debut animation. Hardcore Zoro fans are going to be mad when we cut back to Zoro and Lucci padded out fight, going high diff across like 8 episodes, though. Lol. I wonder if the fight will be padded that much in the anime, because like I think the anime used to add more to fights, partly to extend time, right? But now it might be more accurate to... It's kind of like if I think back to pre-time skip... Like, if I think back to, like, a pre-time skip fight, like Zoro versus Kaku or Sanji versus Jabura, I don't remember much filler in those fights. Luffy versus Lucci had actually one extended segment of filler that I can recall, but it was actually a really good segment of filler. It like, added another sequence to the Gear Second Luffy versus Lucci segment of the fight towards the very end. But in general, I think that the anime didn't used to put in as much filler to their fights, and then I think it started extending a lot of the fight stuff as the pacing slowed down. So I wonder if we'll still see that. Like, are they going to go all out coming up with extra stuff for Zoro versus Lucci? I think they will, but I don't know if they'll, like, write a whole extra fight. Does that mean, like, I think we'll get more action, but I don't know if we're going to get, like, a whole additional battle scene there. Yeah, I think it's only going to be room for Zoro fans to get mad that Zoro's taking so long to defeat Lucci and actually trying, if that's what they do, if they pat it out like that. Poco Loco, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 5 months, man. Anime will elevate the fights. Just look at King versus Zoro in the anime compared to the manga. Also, Toei gas everything to do with Zoro. Yes, but the tricky thing is that Zoro's fighting Lucci. So it's hard to gas Zoro versus Lucci without making it more of a struggle for Zoro. That's the tricky part, which is just like... Because we already saw Lucci get rolled. Like, we already saw Toei basically show Lucci getting absolutely rolled by Luffy. So now, if you have Zoro versus Lucci, but this fight has to go, like, 10 episodes, it's kind of going to be hard to get. Like, you can do all the DBZ effects you want for the fight. It's just, like, it's, like, almost like an inverse effect where the more they actually do for the fight, the worse it's going to make Zoro look. Because, like, if they're having him pull out all sorts of crazy haki and stuff, and Lucci's just going even, it's just going to be like, damn. So Luffy really just, like, low diff that dude, huh? Krovitz, thanks a lot. Hey, Morj, I've been watching you for 7 years now, but this is my first time donating. Holy shit, thank you so much, man. Thank you, I appreciate it. Since you're not a huge fan of Wano, I wanted to ask about which arcs you prefer over it. Could you name all? I think that for me, I'd say that honestly, like, Wano's, because Wano, I look at it 2 ways, because it's like, in terms of how much buildup there is to that arc as the climax, there's nothing really close in One Piece. So basically, it's like for what it is, right? Considering how much of a payoff it's supposed to be, like if I were to compare straight up, I'd be like, well, yeah, Long Ring Longland is a less entertaining arc than Wano, obviously. Like Reverse Mountain is a less entertaining arc than Wano, obviously. But at the same time, Long Ring or Reverse Mountain, those arcs are or those are like almost like quick, easy, breezy arcs with no sort of real, not much of anything riding on them. Because Wano had so much riding on them, like essentially like everything from Punk Hazard through Dressrosa to Zoe to Whole Cake is building up specifically to Wano. So for that arc to then not be a strong payoff for all those arcs, it almost neuters a lot of the buildup that's going into it. So if I were to say like what arcs I prefer over Wano, it's honestly the vast majority of them, because it's not like any of those arcs are kind of a letdown in any sense. Fishman Island, I think, is a letdown in a similar sense in that everyone was really excited for Fishman Island for a long time, and then it turned out to be a very low stakes, very, just a very low stakes arc with almost filler background villains or whatever that happened to tell two very good backstories. So it's very hard for me to be like, what arcs do I prefer over Wano? Because it's like, in terms of straight entertainment, yeah, Wano is more entertaining. Like, I would probably go back and reread Wano over many arcs. I would go back to reread Wano over Fishman Island, over Reverse Mountain, Long Ring Longland, Punk Hazard. Like, I would reread Wano for enjoyment over a lot of arcs, right? But if I'm putting Wano in the category of, like, major arcs, right? Like, major arcs in One Piece that are kind of the payoff to a lot of story setup, then I put Wano at the lowest. And I think in terms of relative to what Wano is supposed to be in the story as a payoff arc, I put it as like my least favorite arc. Does that make sense? So it's depending on the lens through which I view it. If I'm viewing purely for like entertainment value, it's a lot higher than a lot of arcs in the story. If I'm saying pure entertainment value, if I skip most of the shitty filler character writing stuff in there, and like most of the, like in terms of substance, if I look past the terrible lack of substance and generally terrible narrative structure and everything, and I'm just looking at like, okay, how does it deliver on fights and stuff like that? It has cool fights and it has some cool scenes, right? So I'd personally put it, for me, entertainment wise, it would be high. Like it'd be in the upper half of One Piece arcs for me. In terms of like overall as an arc, how I judge it based on what it's meant to be for the story as like the biggest and most important One Piece storyline ever, relative to what it should be on paper, it falls the furthest from the heights that it's aiming to reach or what it's supposed to kind of do for the story, in my opinion. That's my opinion, though. And if you guys love Wano, that's your own thing. I'm going to try and catch myself a little bit in terms of, like, trying to talk too negatively about that arc. But I do get prompted by questions, I think. Where are we at? The Final Storm, thanks to the 5. What if Usopp gets a power-up similar to Nami getting Zeus? Maybe he somehow fools killing him into creating a 10-ton hammer, or he just gets Ragnar lol. So my thing with Usopp is always that I feel like Usopp is never supposed to have some sort of overpowered weapon. I really feel like Usopp is supposed to be a character that has to make the most of what little that he has, and to me, that's the fun of seeing him fight. I also feel like that's one of the reasons that Oda went with plants as his route for development post-time skip, because it doesn't really match any of Usopp's kit beforehand, other than it being like plants are, I guess you would ultimately describe them as, and especially the plants that Usopp has, weak but versatile, right? And I think that's always been Usopp's fighting style, weak but versatile. Nami, on paper, is similar in that she's like a weak character, but it's not quite the same in that Nami's actual category niche that she fills in is more so a glass cannon. Usopp's never been a glass cannon. Nami's niche in terms of combat is being a glass cannon, right? Still requires strategy and everything like that for her fights, but she's not. It's actually kind of interesting. This is a little bit of a separate spin-off, but if you go back and read like how Usopp and Nami, how their strategies play into their fights, they both have to essentially like survive a lot before they're able to execute what they need to execute. But in Nami's fights, like against Doublefinger, against Khalifa, and even against Ulti, a lot of times what's happening is that she's able to survive a lot because her enemies toy with her and don't attack her for some time, right? So if you go back, look at Miss Doublefinger, she's fucking, like, joking, walking around. Like, there's a lot of times where she could just kill Nami, but she's kind of just making fun of her and not doing anything. Khalifa literally just has Nami defeated, and then she goes, mocks her, takes a bath in the middle of the battle. Like, that's how relaxed she is. Nami's opponents tend to give them very lucky breaks. With Ulti, specifically, again, Ulti could have just finished her, but Ulti was telling Nami, like, I demand that you say Kaido's going to be Pirate King or whatever, and then they get rescued by Tama, and then after that they get rescued by Big Mom, so Nami's given a lot of breaks. So essentially in Nami's fights, she does have to implement strategy and everything, but she's just given a shit ton of breaks over the course of those fights. Usopp, the way that Usopp tends to survive to be able to execute his strategies is he's just an insane damage tank. That's the one aspect of Usopp that is superhuman. He is a damage tank in terms of just, like, how much damage he can take. Like, we talked about this in that other stream, durability versus, like, endurance, right? So let's just say in terms of endurance, right? Like, it's easy to damage Usopp, but he can also take a lot of damage, right? So relative to his, I don't know, body type or whatever, like, relative to... some shit's going on over there on the TV. Okay, yeah, like, Usopp can take similar, like, he's probably third on the crew in terms of how much damage he takes in fights after Luffy and Zoro. Like, I'd say easily third on the crew after Luffy and Zoro in terms of how much damage he has to, how injured he gets, let's say. Obviously, like, Sanji or Frankie or someone can take harder attacks and not be injured, but I'm saying relative to what injures you, Usopp gets the third most injuries over fights after Luffy and Zoro. So, yeah, Oda's way of just, like, allowing Usopp to last long enough to execute a strategy is he just has him take a shit ton of damage and keep going and execute a plan. With Nami, it's just like Oda writes all sorts of BS to just make it so the opponent doesn't hit Nami for a long time, whether they're just, like, bullshitting around, underestimating her, toying with her, or outside forces come in to intercept or whatever. That's kind of the way that Oda does it with Nami. But anyway, bottom line, I don't think Usopp's going to get, like, a crazy strong weapon just because he's not the same type of character as Nami. Nami's a glass cannon. She's supposed to have a really, really powerful ability, just a weak body. Whereas Usopp actually kind of has a really tanky body. It's kind of like the reverse where he's like, Usopp's almost the reverse. Like, okay, Usopp and Nami, think about the stats like this. In terms of, like, how much they have to rely on battle IQ and strategy, it's similar. Like, they both have to do that because they're not physically, like, straight up, like, fist-to-fist fighters, okay? So that stat is similar. But then their other two stats, which is damage they can deal and their own physical durability, that's, like, reversed, where Nami's physical durability is very, very low, but the damage she can output is very high, hence the glass cannon. Usopp, the bar reverses, where the damage he can take is very, very, where the damage he can dish out is very low, but he can take a shit ton of damage as well. So that gives him enough time to, like, set up a situation where even with his weak tools, he can pull off a victory. Does that make sense? So their stats are reversed. Nami, high damage output, low damage intake. Usopp, low damage output, high damage intake. Anyway. Marcel Beans, thanks for the 2. Now I want to see Usopp's plant powers versus Green Bull. Usopp gets demolished. I don't think Usopp's ever beating an admiral. I could see him, like, he can punch above his weight, but not that far above his weight. Like, generally, Usopp's fights involve him, like, being able to beat somebody that is, like, a mid to low level officer for the enemy side. Krovitz, thanks a lot. Wanted to bait you into doing a live Wano analysis. Oh, it almost kind of worked. All right. Mr. 9 says Usopp isn't a glass cannon. He's a precision punching bag. Yeah. JWP says durability versus endurance. Yeah, and I might have mixed up durability and endurance there. Usopp, very high endurance, let's say, whatever. Not super high durability in that, like, a lot of things can injure him, but he can last through a lot of that damage. Like, Zoro and Sanji is a great example of durability versus endurance, right? Like, Zoro is known for his endurance, but Sanji now has way higher durability. Like, when Queen swung that sword and it broke against Sanji's skin, That's high durability. If Queen swung that sword and it cut and it hit Zoro, Zoro would get cut, right? So Sanji's durability is now way higher than Zoro's durability. In terms of endurance, Zoro has shown that he can take a lot more damage. Like if damage that actually gotten through to affect him, he has shown over the course of the series that's like one of his specialties. Like compare Nothing Happened scene with Sanji, you know. TomTom says, Morj, okay, but Usopp still needs to get some sort of hammer in Elbaf. Hammers were one of the pillars of his arsenal pre-time skip. Yeah, maybe he does. Maybe he gets to wield Ragnar. I'm just saying that hasn't been the norm for him so far to have that sort of ability. So maybe there's something about Ragnar that allows him to do it. TomTom says, Morj, is your lighting new? The setup / posters looks very bright. This whole setup is going to change shortly, by the way. This whole setup's going to change because we're about to be moving to a larger apartment. So don't read too much into the setup at the moment. I don't think I changed the setup much, though. The lighting should be roughly the same. But you raised a great question. Since you're so curious, you can get these posters if you so choose. Just follow this link. We're also about to be getting God Valley in the anime as well. Oh, shit. Hold on. Got to change the opacity. There we go. Yeah. You guys can get these posters. We're going to pin these so that it's easy for everybody to get. You can get any individual poster. God Valley, which we're about to get in the anime, Morj, Impel Down, or Laugh Tale, yet to be seen. Or you can get all four together if you like for 50% off. You get 50% off all four posters. Also, for people who do the premium bundles, for those of you who are interested, premium bundles are the people who get to come on stream if they so choose. You also get access to the happy hour. We are doing our online happy hour this Wednesday, so for anybody who's gotten a premium bundle, just watch out for the happy hour this Wednesday. We've got several participants, so if you want to join in, have some drinks, talk One Piece with me and some other One Piece fans on a live call, watch out for that this Wednesday. All right, let's get to the stream topic. One second here. All right. Wait 1 second real quick. This is from Marcel Beans. Thanks a lot for the 5. Wait, so you think Usopp will defeat Loki but not an Admiral, or did I misunderstand something? Oh, I don't think Usopp's beating Loki. Did I say Usopp's beating Loki? I don't think Usopp's beating Loki. Did I say something? At one point, I might have thought that Usopp versus Loki is in the realm of possibility. At this point, I don't think so. I think that Usopp beating a God's Knights, like killing him or something, might be in the realm of possibility. I think that Usopp... I don't think Loki at this point is like a bad guy enough that I'd be like, oh, he's somebody that the Straughts themselves have to defeat. Like, at this moment in time, the Straughts are literally defending Loki and keeping him alive so that he doesn't die, right? Like, Luffy's literally doctoring him up and everything. So, yeah, I just think that I think if anything, it's possible that Usopp and Loki might make a connection or something like that, because one of the big things that's standing out about the arc so far is that Loki's biggest trait is that, like, or one of the biggest traits that people keep emphasizing about Loki is that Loki's a liar. He's the shame of Elbaf. He always lies. He's just a liar. Nobody likes him. He's been a liar since he was young. I know another liar in this story, the OG liar, and that's Usopp. I wonder if they'll have some sort of a connection. I think that'd be interesting. All right. Let's get into the main topic for this stream. This is going to be... Hold on. Let me just check one thing, too. Double check one thing. Let me double check one thing. Okay, I guess that's good. All right. Where are we at here? All right. We are going to be doing... What the fuck? Yeah, there we go. All right. We are going to be rating the best characters in Elbaf so far. I think we got a pretty good roster. We will do this again down the line. I'm just curious what people's opinions are at the moment. So we'll do our opinions right now, how we're feeling about everybody right now, and then we'll revisit this towards the end of the arc. But I'm curious how much opinions will shift. Because at the moment, I think that we've already got... We don't have too many characters in Elbaf. How do I say this? I want to count everybody that's not a Straw Hat. Does that make sense? Everybody that's not a Straw Hat. I still want to count characters that we already know, like Hajrudin and Stanson and shit like that. But everyone that's not a Straw Hat. Note. Oops. Rating characters who aren't Straw Hats. We can either do this ranking... No, let's do this ranking style. Let's do this ranking. Ranking style or rating? So that's going to be including God's Knights. It's going to be including the random citizens of Elbaf. I kind of just want to rate our initial impressions of these characters. So you guys might be like, oh, it's too early to tell. Yeah, so this is initial impressions of these characters. But then in that case, do we do Saul and shit? How about all new characters? So, like, Elbaf characters from Saul's... Can we rank Hajrudin? I feel like Hajrudin should be rankable. Kosh Panda says, is Loki being stressed that many times in this, as a liar in the story, or are you getting tunnel vision? You have to separate OP Loki from Marvel/Norse Loki. No, literally, it's part of his description. Let's see. Am I crazy? No, they've been talking about that. These many pranks, blah, blah, blah. I think it might be Hajrudin that talks about it. I gotta find Hajrudin's discussion about him. Might be right before Loki. Also, it is kind of just straight up like his first act in the story, which is tricking Luffy. Literally tricking Luffy into freeing him. Where are we at? This scene was funny because it just flew by a little bit quick. Yeah. We've known Loki since children. If he told you anything that made him sound sympathetic, then he's lying, right? He's cunning, cruel, vicious, backstabbing, conniving. You can't trust him. He's a... What more do we need? He's a liar. That's basically the gist of it. And then the first thing is that he lied to Luffy and them, which is right off the bat. He tricked him about the cuff. So I think everything's in line with that being the general like key component of Loki's character, which is that he's deceptive, right? You can spin it different ways, but he's a very deceptive, deceitful character, and that's the idea behind him. It's like a more malicious version of Usopp. Because Usopp's lies, they're just like harmless little tall tales. Loki's lies seem to be genuinely manipulative. What's our word bank that we want for character? Yeah, I think... Okay, so characters I'd like to include are... I feel like including everybody that... Rating characters who aren't Straw Hats and who... why do I need to make this all caps? And characters who we don't know that well beforehand, right? So just because, like, Roto showed up in a cover story doesn't mean that we know Roto well, right? Cerberus for number 1. All right, so we're going to be rating basically God's Knights, Elbaf Citizens... I think God's Knights and Elbaf Citizens. God's Knights and Elbaf Citizens. TomTom says, Morj, since no one was able to solve the Pirate King poster puzzle, can you make a community post about it? I want to see if I can solve it for fun, lol. Holy shit, the puzzle. I gotta write a note down, man. Sorry, let me write this note down. That's actually a very important note that you just mentioned. The puzzle. Hold on. Hold on. That's very important because we've had discussions about the puzzle multiple times. And so we have like a few ideas on what to do with it, but we need to revisit it. We'll try and revisit it next meeting. Tim says, so we spend a lot of time with Roto, actually. Yeah, recently. I'm saying characters who we don't know well beforehand, like before Elbaf, beforehand. Before Elbaf. But Roto, we haven't really spent much time, right? Also, let's get the stream lights up to 100 real quick. Brim says, I like how Loki's personality is deceptive, but also how we view him is deceptive. Yeah, I agree. That's a good point. Can we get Surfer Morj next stream? Yeah. All right. Is this not Surfer Morj? What does Surfer Morj look like? I don't know. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and... What's the best way to do this? Who do we have at the bottom of the... Okay, so our word bank. Let's do our little word bank here. Let's do our word bank here on the side. And then you guys tell me if I'm missing characters. Word bank. I won't do bullet points. That'll overcomplicate it. Word bank. So in order of us meeting them, right? We have Roto, Loki, Gerd. Who are all the new giant warrior pirates? Hadruden, Gerd, Stanson, Roto. I'm missing one. I gotta be missing one. Who am I missing? Who am I missing? That's not us, right? Okay. Goldberg. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I don't remember Goldberg. Let's take a quick review. New giant. Hold on. When does the new giant warrior pirates cover story come up? New giant warrior pirates comes up. Chapter 706. 706. No, it doesn't. That doesn't seem right. $895. That makes more sense. Okay. All right. Okay, let's do here. Let's just give ourselves a little refresher. All right. So here we have the new giant warrior pirates being debuted. Hadruden, of course, the terrible captain. The fuck's this is Stanson. Roto. This is Goldberg. There we go. Okay, I don't know why they... I just don't know. Do we need Goldberg? This is why sometimes I just question. Do we need this character? I don't know. Sometimes I'm just like, is Oda just adding more characters for the sake of characters? Because, like, you got... Like, do we need him? You know? Because, like, if you look at the Giant Warrior Pirates as a whole, it's pretty nicely spread out in terms of, like... You got Hadruden, who's a character... He's like the hero of the group, the one that we kind of are getting to know, you know? Did we skip Gerd's chapter? Maybe I skipped it somewhere. Hadruden you got as the hero of the crew. Then you got Stanson, the giant that we already met sometime back, so we're already a little familiar with him. Then you got Roto, who's kind of this misfit, and he's a character that we get to spend a good amount of time with, obviously over the course of Legoland, and he's kind of, like, he has a big personality that's very clear to us and everything like that. And then you got Gerd, who's kind of the flip side, who's like a very good, kind-hearted character that is also connecting with the Strahd crew a little bit. What's Goldberg doing? Why do we need this character? That's my question. Like, what's the reasoning behind it? Akash include Shaggy / Moza? No! I'm not including him. Goldberg. Is that a rhetorical question? It's not a It's kind of a rhetorical... It's kind of just like a question... In terms of, like, this is something I've been talking about for some time, but I do feel like as the story has gone on, I do think there's been a greater tendency on Oda's part to include more characters for the sake of including more characters rather than them adding to the story, right? It's not even like every character needs a big role in the story, but it's just like some level of purpose to why they're being written in. Like, what are they bringing? Are they bringing maybe some comedy? Are they bringing maybe some new interactions? Are they... Because, like, otherwise, if you're just adding more characters to add characters, then you're just bloating the cast and, like, making things a little bit more messy, a little bit more crammed, taking away some screen time, things like that, right? I just feel like... And Elbaf, I think, has been pretty tight so far because, again, most of the characters that are in Elbaf are either characters that we've already met before or characters who are extremely unique and interesting, like a Loki and Skopra Gaban, or characters that aren't... that feel like refreshing additions to the story, like a Ripley or even a Roto or something like that, right? So I've enjoyed Elbaf for that reason. But like Goldberg's just like a random minor example of like, why have him? Like, why is he there? Why is he including him? Mo says more dialogue than Goldberg. Yeah, include Harold at least. No, Harold. I think we can't include Harold. I think no flashback characters. Let's just say that unwritten rule. Rhoda, Loki, Gerd, Stanson, Goldberg. Then we've got our other characters. Do we want to include Dory, Brogy, and shit? Or just new Elbaf characters? Do we include Dory and Brogy and shit? I would include, like, Yorl. I'm not going to include Saul. I'll include Walrus Principal Guy. I'll include Ange. Ripley, Colin, Skopper Gaban. Obviously the Gods Knights. Shamrock, Gunko, Sommers, Killingham. Yeah, do we want to include... Like, are we rating Dory and Brogy again? Just new? Alright, let's just do the new characters. Hadruden is tricky. I almost want to include Hadruden because, like, we're seeing him in a new light. You know what I'm saying? Like, it feels like he's going to be the main character. It's feeling like this is his time to shine. Whereas Dory and Brogy, I feel like... I don't think we're going to get something new out of them necessarily, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that Dory and Brogy, who they were in Little Garden is exactly who they were in Egghead, is exactly who they are right now, you know? Hadruden, I feel like this might be the arc that we're really getting to know him. You know what I mean? Oimo and Kashi, same thing. Leonardo Ruiz Vela says Oden versus Zoro. I would go with Oden at the moment. It's possible that Zoro... Like, to me, Zoro's an interesting spot because he can be as strong as Oda wants to write him. Because the big thing in my mind that's still up Zoro's sleeve is Ashura. And Ashura being up Zoro's sleeve is more so like it's up Oda's sleeve in the sense that if Oda decided tomorrow that, like, if Zoro really wants to... Because, like, Ashura was already hinted at, like, what happened before, right? So what we saw before is that when Zoro is in Ashura mode, he can go... He's a problem for anyone on the planet. That was established the moment that he had that Ashura interaction with Kaido, where Zoro got the better of Kaido and scarred him, right? In Ashura, we don't really have an accurate way to place Zoro at this moment in time, right? Because it's just that effective, but it's seen that infrequently that, like, I think when people talk about Zoro, they don't even count Ashura in terms of, like, scaling Zoro. Like, they kind of ignore that, and they just look at the King fight, and they're like, okay, well, he's got advanced, like, he does this stuff. Ashura's, like, its own separate thing, because it's just so, it's been used once in all of post-time skip. The one time it was used was literally for a top-tier feat, and then never again, right? So Ashura's its own, like, little thing, right? It's kind of like a break glass in case of emergency, but we don't even understand Zoro's level of control. Flip side, Zoro masters advanced Conqueror's Haki, right? Ashura implied to be Conqueror's Haki related. So we now don't know. It's up to Oda if he wants to say. If Oda said tomorrow that ever since Zoro mastered Conqueror's Haki against King, now he can use Ashura more frequently, or he can use Ashura on a whim or something like that, Zoro immediately jumps several spots. Like, he jumps tiers immediately. That's what happens, right? Immediately, if he can use Ashura freely all the time with Mastery over Advanced Conqueror's Haki, then it's basically the level he was at when he scarred Kaido, but just against anybody, right? So Oda has that in the bag for Zoro. It's just a question of, like, is Oda, like, going to choose to write Zoro like that? Or is it going to continue to be more like, well, Ashura is just this one-off thing that could hypothetically be used once in a blue moon, but generally speaking, what we saw versus at the end of the King fight, that's going to be Zoro's general King of Hell level. Does that make sense? The way Oda's framed things is basically like, Ashura exists, it's just a big question mark, it's like a little mystery box. If Oda wanted to tell us today that, hey, I'm going to have Zoro fight a fucking admiral, but now he can use Ashura at command for a long period of time, then yeah, Zoro versus an admiral is completely reasonable. If it's still the same Zoro that was going huff with Lucci, then it doesn't really make sense. So that's the situation right now. I would say, I imagine if Zoro can use Ashura and stuff like that with Advanced Conqueror's Haki, like in general now, then him versus Oden is a different discussion. But from what we've seen so far, I think the safer bet is just go with what we saw against King. I would still put Oden above Zoro there because Oden had been... It seemed like Oden had mastered Advanced Conqueror's Haki for some while. Like, that fight with King was basically Zoro basically realizing, oh shit, so Oden's just always been able to use you, Enma, like this, and it was never a problem. Like, Zoro just... It seemed like Zoro finally got to basically tap into the level that was just, like, already natural for Oden, you know? Zolden, thanks for being a Pirate King tier member for 19 months, man. Always good to see you. Hey, Morj, I haven't started solo leveling yet. Is it worth watching? All right, everybody, hold up. I fucking forgot to talk about this. You know what I'm watching right now? Who knows what I'm watching right now? It's not solo leveling, because I'm fucking caught up. I'm currently reading Solo Leveling. I'm on chapter 123 of the manhwa. I'm reading it. Solo Leveling, got through it this weekend, got through it last night. I fucking love this series. Like, it was literally, I'm not trying to hype it up as like the best series ever, but it fits so perfectly the niche that I was looking for. This is all I wanted. This is all I've been saying for so long. I just want good action, like a good action anime that is just plain, like I just want something that's enjoyable. Solo Leveling is, I think, if you want pure... Once you get past a little bit of Solo Leveling, right? Sorry, hold on. Once you get like 5-6 episodes in and you're actually like enjoying like the progression of it, it is, out of all the anime that I've seen, I think it is genuinely, in terms of like, out of all the action anime I've seen, it consistently delivers the most frequently, because it's pretty much just continuous set piece after set piece, but also at the same time, it's got an engaging plot, and it knows how to do hype moments really well, and it knows how to consistently keep you hooked with new plot developments, new hype moments, and things like that, without really overdoing it. And it's not something that's got deep character writing, but at the same time, it doesn't have, like, really shitty, corny, like, fairy tale type writing or anything either. It's more of, like, a plot-based series that gives you just enough, like, good, like, decent character writing and dialogue and everything like that. It's more so just very engaging and enjoyable every episode, right? It doesn't try to be the deepest thing, but it's not poorly written either. And I actually didn't really realize that, like, this sort of thing could exist. Does that make sense? Like, it's like I'm not looking for some sort of philosophical masterpiece right now, but I also don't want a series to just be, like, super dumb writing just to get the action. Solo Leveling just hits the perfect spot where, like, it doesn't try to do anything too deep or whatever with its themes or character writing, but it does enough that, like, you're engaged with the story. It doesn't do long-ass shit that overstays its welcome with, like, cringe backstories or whatever, basically. It does enough that you are invested in the main character's story. You're not going to, like, shed tears reading or, like, watching Solo Leveling or anything like that, but you're invested. You want to see a story through and everything like that, and it just keeps giving you good, exciting new shit to chew on. The dialogue isn't corny or overly edgy or anything like that. It's just a solid series all around. Like, in terms of its depth, it's solid all around. Like, it doesn't need to do anything, but it doesn't do anything, like, too poorly or too whatever. And then the main things are just in terms of the plot. Always, like, the plot is just continuously engaging episode after episode. Phenomenal set pieces episode after episode. It knows how to build hype very, very quickly. I think it's often difficult for series to really build hype when they're short. Because you need time to get excited for things, if that makes sense. Like, One Piece is so hyped because it's been hundreds and hundreds, 1,000+ chapters of build-up, right? Solo Leveling is able to set up, like, make you feel excited about scenarios and future obstacles and things like that pretty fast, but without rushing it too much, in my opinion. It's so much fun. It's so much, like, genuinely, it's literally just, like, I think it's the most fun I've had watching an anime, and I don't know how fucking long. Like, it's the perfect short form anime experience for when you're not looking for anything like super mind-blowingly deep, but you still want something that's good and not poorly written and continuously engaging in terms of action, animated action, hype, plot, fun-ish cast of characters, but really the main character is... This was the biggest thing that held me back from Solo Leveling for the longest time. The main character. Because I didn't get past the first 3 episodes. I only got 3 episodes in. I wasn't feeling the main character at that point in time. I really I thought the main character... I had such a bad read on him. The main character is actually my favorite part of the show now. Not the favorite part of the show, but he's the most enjoyable main character for an anime or manga in God knows how long. For me. Like, I am sick of the shonen-y, like dumb main character, but with a heart of gold and really emotionally, like, friendly and everything like that, and just like a wide-eyed whatever with some moral whatever or something. I'm sick of that, okay? And it's not like this guy Sung Jin Woo or whatever. It's not like he's like I've seen some people be like, oh, he's edgy. No, he's not. Like, edgy's like, he's not like some angst-filled, like, rebel type character. The main defining traits that I find very engaging for him, that I'm just like, fucking finally out of an anime protagonist, is he's actually analytical, long-term planning, strategy, vision. He is cerebral. He's not like super emotionally, like, wears his emotions on his sleeve or whatever, but just because he's like a little bit more serious and on the cerebral side doesn't make him fucking edgy. He's not like trying to be like fucking yelling about how he's berserk with rage all the time or whatever. Just fucking actually thinks things through. He's got a long-term plan. He's figuring out, okay, how do I maximize these resources? How's this working? How do I build on this? How do I be efficient? Not focus on the power of friendship and stuff like that. Just a very, very engaging, like a very, very fun main character to watch. Other main characters like him, I guess, have been like Light or like Leluk, but they're always like... I think I find Sung Jin Woo more engaging just because, like, Light ultimately was an asshole. Leluk, I thought some of the writing for Code Geass could be cringy for me for some time. Sung Jin Woo is just engaging because, like, you see where he starts with and you see what he is originally, right? So you see him as the underdog first and then evolve into this, which I find more fun. Yeah, just a very refreshing breath of fresh air for a main character, I think. And, like, if you keep reading in the manga, it's like... It's also just cool. It's just like, it's like an anime main character that is actually very, like, playing the game of the anime that he's in very strategically. Like, I'm not going to spoil stuff, but, like, he treats his progression like he has a businessman mindset. Like, it's a businessman mindset. He's figuring out, okay, how do I maximize this? How do I do this? How do I make certain deals? How do I further my goals like this? He figures out how to very efficiently make more money and everything like that. How to progress his resources. It's like a businessman plus general plus strategist, whatever. It's just a lot more fun to watch somebody like that. I guess I'm sick of seeing like another... Like, I like Demon Slayer, but I don't want to have to fucking listen to Demon Slayer Tanjiro writing about like good and evil all the time just to get to Demon Slayer's actions, you know? Like action sequences. I don't want to have to listen to Yuji Itadori's like cookie cutter cardboard like bullshit save people shit for like every other episode to get to Jujutsu Kaisen's action, right? Solo leveling, this is it. This is it. This is all I really want. Like a main character who, it's not like he's fucking, he's not constantly ranting about some shonen power friendship, good guy, blah, 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 morality or whatever. He's got his personal character motivations, which we do get fleshed out somewhat. He's got the backstory. He's got, enough is done that you feel empathy for him. But it's not like fucking playing into every single fucking fight. Sometimes the fights can just be focused on the strategy, the action sequences and stuff like that. And you get progression to his story and his character as we go. But it's not fucking like over shonenized like so many other series. Like, I genuinely thought that like any action series I watch, like if I want to get Jujutsu Kaisen type action, I gotta fucking truck through a million stupid Yuji Itadori character bits or like fucking like trash ass Jujutsu Kaisen character writing or whatever. I thought I had to get through like a bunch of Demon Slayer sappy shit to get to Demon Slayer's action sequences. Solo leveling has been mind-blowing because like you can get to the action stuff, you can get to the hype stuff without having to have all that, but at the same time not having bad writing, just not having to do overly sappy, cheesy writing. I'm so happy with this. Anyway, Eric Reed says, I like Tanjiro. I think he's funny. That's the thing. So I'm sorry. I do like Tanjiro too. I don't like Yuji, by the way. I don't strongly dislike him, but I dislike him as far as MCs go. I do actually like Tanjiro. I'm sorry. Like I think sometimes when I'm talking something up that I'm excited about, I can accidentally just be overly dismissive of something else. I like Demon Slayer a lot. If I'm being honest, I think Demon Slayer overall is a better series than the anime, at least. The anime, I think Demon Slayer so far, or even two seasons of Demon Slayer, I think ultimately was better than Solo Leveling. Because ultimately I do think trying to do things that are a bit deeper, more emotionally compelling, etc., Demon Slayer did hit that out of the park in moments, at least the anime production did, right? I'm just saying that, like, for what I was looking for at this point, is really just a series that, like, I thought it didn't exist. A series where I don't want to have to, like, get through long stints of characters talking about shonen values, right? To get to good action sequences. I think that's what I was hoping for, but I also didn't want it to just be, like, terrible cringe writing from start to finish. Solo Leveling exists. I'm happy with that. I don't have to listen to, like, shonen character writing all the time. But at the same time, the writing's not bad. If anything, I really like the fact that the main character thinks logically about the situation, the future paths, and, like, pretty much all the times that you think that, okay, maybe it's time that you should start doing this, or maybe it's time that you should stop doing this, or something like that. He's on that wavelength already. Like, he thinks like the way that you're supposed to think. It just makes sense. It's like, okay, I should probably accrue some more stuff before I get into here, right? Like, I should, like, there's times when he's like, he hits level 75 of a certain dungeon or something, and, like, some other protagonist might be something like, I'm just going to keep going because, like, I have to get to my mom's elixir no matter what or whatever. He's like, this is probably a good stopping point. I've realized what I need to realize here. We're going to go. We're going to level up some more, get stronger, get some more resources, come back. Like, okay, I should probably stop pretending to be an E rank right about now because at this point that's probably played out and I'm probably secure enough that it's okay to go public. Like, everything that he thinks through, it just makes sense. You don't feel like you're following a fucking dumb protagonist, and that helps a lot. Anyway. And Jinwoo's abilities are awesome too, not cliche at all, says Gabe Sylvester. Yeah, I don't think I've ever followed an anime MC that has this particular set of abilities. It's a lot of fun to watch when so many different things can happen in a fight. That's very underrated because he could just be like a straight combat fighter. That's what it seemed like early on. But as his abilities develop, the fights get very, very interesting, and they keep up a very, very fast pace. So even though they become more ability based and there's a lot of moving parts, I like that they can keep up the really fast pace to them. It's a lot of fun to watch. The MC's a lot of fun to watch. Some people, I think in chat, were saying that it's like One Punch Man done right, and I really do think that's the case because it's got similar setups of like S rank, E rank, blah 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 heroes or whatever, and like the class system of all that stuff, and like people looking down on people, blah 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 blah. But with One Punch Man, I do feel like the gimmick has gotten old, and it's at a certain point, I don't want the hero to just be able to beat everything if you're going to play it. Like either just be a pure gag manga, which One Punch Man isn't, or like actually have, like, I enjoy, like, it's still a power fantasy. Solo leveling still a power fantasy, but it's done in a way where like you can still feel him struggle at points. I think one thing that it does well is that like he will often struggle, but he's still far ahead of everybody else. So it does feed some sort of like power fantasy aspect of storytelling for the viewer, where it's like, oh my god, Sung Jin Woo, so much more amazing and talented and able to grow than everybody else. But it's not like everything's easy for him, because he still runs into things that are difficult for him. But that's more so him pushing past his own limits, or like him having to get out of difficult scenarios himself, basically, and him having to think on the spot, etc. But at the same time, you get that power fantasy aspect of like, okay, but compared to everybody else, they're just shit compared to him as the story goes on. But he doesn't even start out like that. So you see the progression of how far it takes for him to get ahead of everybody else. And then, I don't know. Like, it is a power fantasy at the end of the day, but it's one that it's like almost tempered just enough that you don't feel like it's just like this, like, whatever. It's all easy, or there's no actual challenge, or he's not forced to grow and forced to like hit his limits and forced to reflect and things like that. Especially the point that I'm at in the manhwa, which, by the way, this is maybe I'm just unaware of things or whatever. The manhwa, I didn't realize that Korean manhwa are all in color and all that vividly illustrated. If you finish Solo Leveling, go read the manhwa. It is so much fun to read. I had to adjust a little bit because the pages are very, very long, so scrolling through them feels different than scrolling through a manga. But it's all in color. It's vividly colored, very, very vibrantly colored. It feels like you're just watching the anime, basically, because it's the level of art fits what the anime puts on. Very beautifully colored. Art is good. I think it could have like a bit. No, the art style is good. The art style is good. It's not like Berserk level art style, but it's also got color to counterbalance things, and it's a real pleasure to read. This series is so much fun. All right, enough about that. I'm going to read more manhwa after this. I'm happy that people pushed me on to Solo Leveling, because that was the funniest thing. I started this whole rant by saying, like, the thing that turned me off was the protagonist early on. Because the Sung Jin Woo that we got in the first 3 episodes, that was just, like, his outer shell. His true self was able to come out when he stopped being underfoot of everybody else, right? Like, just when you're, like, below everybody, you have nowhere, like, to climb or anything like that. You basically do have to bury your own like independence or will or whatever to just try and get along and be able to mesh with everybody else. Like, that's essentially what his character was. So what I saw initially as like a very soft, sweet little character, like I thought I was going to be fucking reading Deku number 2, like another Deku type character or whatever. He obviously showed his intelligence and like analysis and everything like that, and cerebral aspects right off the bat in the second episode. But I thought that was just like he's the main character, so he's getting that or whatever. As the story goes on, you realize, no, that's actually him. Like, that's his true strength and personality. He just kind of had to, like, hide a lot of his, like, true personality to play into the role of being, like, because society forces him to be an E-rank hunter, so he can't actually take the reins or take control of situations like he otherwise would. So it's funny because like now the main character is probably my favorite aspect of the series, whereas early on it was the thing that almost made me drop the series, because I was like, I don't want to read another fucking like, he felt like another like Deku type soft ass protagonist that just to me is not fun to read. Anyway, sorry, enough about that. Tom says I don't like manhwa art. I think it's tricky. I think Solo Leveling's art is way above the average manga. I think it's not as stylized as I think like something like a Berserk or Vagabond is, but the color is really, really cool. Like, it's just so cool that it's just inherently all in color. And the coloring is really good, in my opinion. I don't know. Enough about Solo Leveling. I would definitely recommend get through the first season, and then the second season is just so much fun from start to finish. It is the most fun episode-to-episode anime that I've watched. Like, some like, what was I watching last? Like, Mob Psycho, you'd have some episodes that are good, some episodes that are like, slice of life, whatever. Before that, I was watching Frieren. Some episodes really good, some episodes like, Fate Stay Night. Sorry, I forgot. I've watched Fate Zero and Fate Unlimited Blade Works. Like, you had to wait like several fucking episodes to get into good stuff. Solo Leveling genuinely once it gets going, I think it is the only anime that I can think of in recent memory, or maybe just in general, where every single episode is exciting for one reason or another. Even if there's not a big action set piece, it's like it alternates it very, very well, where it's like either it's doing an action set piece type thing, or it's moving the plot, or it's doing both. There's no real stoppage to momentum in that show, but it also doesn't feel like it does enough where, like, I think the other big part is that it's not trying to do too much with too many characters, so that's why it's able to move that fast. Because usually, if you have usually where things slow down is, for most series, is, I know this is turning into a bit of a solo leveling discussion, but I'm just having a lot of fun with it. We'll get into the topic in a second, right? Usually with series like, if I were to talk like Mob or Fate or whatever, which are still good, Mob at least is a very good series, right? But the reason series will have some slower moments is because, like, you need more time to spend on the characters, right? You need more time to spend on the characters. Like, you can't be having action and moving the plot and doing crazy hype setups and developing the characters all at the same time. You need sort of those build-up phases, etc., yada yada. Solo leveling does two things. One, the nature of the plot is such that conflicts can happen immediately because it's set around dungeons of monsters showing up, right? So whereas if I'm following something like a Jujutsu Kaisen or like a Black Clover or something, let's say something more traditional, or like a Fire Force, like usually you need the introduction of like, okay, there's a new conflict coming up. Now we have to build up to that. We have to establish what the stakes are, yada, yada, yada. Solo leveling, stakes are always inherent, which is like a dungeon can just pop up right away and now you're in it, right? It's closer to JoJo's type writing in that sense, where a dungeon can just pop up and now you're in it and now it's going, right? Same like a stand user can just pop up. You don't need that much prior context. Now you're just in it. You're dealing with it, right? So that's one. So that keeps set pieces moving along quickly without as much buildup. Two, though, unlike a JoJo's, it is trying to move the plot in between those same things. So it's trying to do things with the world. And three, unlike other series, like, you don't need as much time in between the exciting things to focus on character things because it's a smaller cast of characters. So really, Sung Jin-woo is the only character that it's really trying to do work for and develop. And that allows the story to move in a much more... It allows the story to get to interesting thing after interesting thing a lot faster, because he can go through character development during the fights or during the plot-based developments as he's learning to negotiate and deal with his new status in the world, right? Like, when there's only one character that you're really focusing on developing, the whole story can move a lot faster while still doing decent character work. It's when you've got like several characters that it's like, oh, now we're meeting this person, and now we need to learn a little bit about this person, and once we've learned about this person, and then you're setting up a sort of broader story, then you can eventually get to a conflict, and in the process, you move the broader plot along. In this one, conflicts can happen right away. Those conflicts can progress the main character, and then the character writing, and then at the same time, as soon as you're out of those, then you can progress the outside plot more, so then potentially set up for a bigger conflict, but throw in a shorter conflict in between as well, which can also progress things. So everything just moves in a pace where, like, every single episode is exciting as of season 2. So anyway, sorry, I just had a lot of fun. I have not watched an anime like that in God knows how long. I don't know, in general, maybe ever. I don't think I've watched an anime where every single episode of a season actually has me, like, there's no point where I'm like, oh, I'm kind of bored, or this is a filler episode. I don't think that's happened. Again, not saying that's the best anime ever. I'm saying in pure enjoyability, Solo Leveling, at least once you hit the second season, so much fun, every episode. Anyway, let's keep going. Crovis, thanks a lot. Knowing how much Oda does Sanji dirty, is it possible for him to have Sanji lose against Sommers after he tries to touch a throned Nami? No, I think that would do terrible damage to Sanji's character. When it comes to love and passion, he should be able to do almost anything. Like Sanji, when Sanji's going, doing things for love, right? Like, he can go up against God Enel himself. Like this mission that, to save Nami, like, True Love's frontline rescue. True Love's frontline rescue. Does Sanji have a chance of defeating Enel? No, of course not. But he still pulls through, and he actually significantly Sanji's the only person outside of Wiper and Luffy in this arc to actually get the better of NL in some way. Obviously, NL still beats him in combat, but Sanji actually fucked up the Maxim in a way that, like Sanji's the one who gets the cool moment here. The face of utter defeat, and then NL's like, oh shit, you fucked up the Maxim or whatever. I don't know, like, he gets Nami out of it. Like, come on. When it comes to love, you can't have Sanji fail. It would just defeat the purpose of the character. Akash Panda, thanks for the 2. How's your faith in the One Piece live action given Matt's taking a break? Not good. I think that showrunners are very, very important to a show. I think there's multiple examples. Like, I think generally any really, really good TV show tends to have the same showrunner from start to finish. And I think you can find examples of TV shows where the showrunner changes and then it's not as good afterwards, right? So I don't feel good about that. I'm a little worried, but I feel like season 2 could still be good because they probably did most. Have they done the filming already for season 2? His passion and love burns thorns away. Says best gamer, beat gamer 99. Yeah. Yeah, Dan Harmon. Gabe Sylvester just mentioned Community Season 4. I was thinking about Dan Harmon, but I was like, is Community too obscure for... I don't think Community's obscure anymore. Yeah, I just don't know. I feel like it's already done. Yeah, so I think that this season might be fine. And I think I feel like I heard that Season 2 and Season 3 are being filmed back-to-back. Or maybe not filmed back-to-back, but they got renewed back-to-back or something. I don't know. The one thing I'd say is that at least with One Piece, it's not like some prestige television type show. It's like a really fun, enjoyable fantasy adventure TV show, but I still think it's something that's really hard to get right, and I think you have to be a long-time genuine fan of One Piece, you know, to run a show like that and have a good working relationship with Oda and everything. So I feel like that's hard to replace. I also think that there were some things that there was like some controversial things or something that like one of the other people involved with the show said. So I don't know. How are you all feeling? Reverend, thank you for the 20. Thanks a lot, man. Morj, fun fact. Logias aren't just elementals, but they are elements you can create or grow. Hence why there's no water fruit and why Pika's fruit isn't a Logia, as you can't create water or stone. Ice, swamp, magma, clay are created. Is this correct? What do you mean create? That's an interesting point if it's true, but what do you mean create? Like it can grow. Okay, so grow, that makes sense. So I guess ice can continue spreading. Swamp. But swamp is similar to water in the sense like what is it about swamp that grows that water doesn't? Magma doesn't grow either. Like water flows the same. Like magma is just a substance, right? Like the same as water. Like ice melts into water. You know what I mean? Everything is just transference of like other, like why does ice grow but water doesn't grow? Like I know ice can spread, but then at the same time by that same logic can't an iceberg melt and then more water is created or something? With magma, I fucking forget how geology works or whatever, but like it's just other materials turning into magma, right? I guess you could say, well, ice is still just water, but H2O, like nothing is transforming there. I just don't know about this. This doesn't seem quite correct to me. Like, why does snow grow? Kosh Panda says the theory. Molten rocks are magma. Yeah, so why is it growing? Like, I'm not sure if I'm not sure if that holds up. Smoke, fire. That stuff is just created from other materials basically transforming, right? Braver Ice says, I think Logias are whatever the fuck Oda wants them to be. Yeah, I feel like we will potentially see like an actual like Earth Logia at some point. Pika not being a Logia is it's just a choice by Oda. Like for a long time we thought the rubber like the mochi fruit or something like that. Although Pika can assimilate, whereas Katakuri can't. I don't know. It's interesting. All right, let's get into this shit. All right. So here are the characters. Is there anybody that we want to add here? Here are the characters. Is there anybody that we want to add? Tom, I got you. I'm getting back on stream topic. Don't worry, man. Spirit Edge says, I keep seeing Loki 12th member theories. Loki is too strong to be a member of the Strahd Pirates, I think. If he were to join right now, I believe that Loki right now is above Zoro. And I believe that if Loki joined right now, I think Zoro wouldn't pass him till like the final arc of the story or something like that, right? And I think genuinely there'd be some controversy about like, does Endgame Sanji fucking pass him, right? Like, Scopper Gaban, the way he talks like about Loki, like who knows Prime Scopper Gaban versus Loki? I don't know about that. Harold? I'm not adding Harold. We have not seen Harold. Harold doesn't count. Kid? No, not okay. Characters who we don't know that well before Elbaf, right? We've known enough about them. Mato the barkeep. Oh, good point. There we go. Thanks, Akash. Mato, barkeeper. Reflexy said, did we know Hadruden that well before Elbaf? So I'm considering putting in Hadruden because it feels like we're learning a lot more about his character right here. I'm going to go ahead and put in Hadruden. Because again, the example I gave is just that like Dory and Brogy, we knew them before. We knew them in Little Garden. They're pretty much exactly the same in Egghead, personality-wise, as they were in Little Garden. We're not uncovering more stuff about their character. We're not really getting to know them better. And they're pretty much the same right now as they were in Egghead, right? Like Dory and Brogy, we know them, right? They're set. Saul, same thing. Oimo and Kashi, not seeing any big personality changes. Hadruden, I'm not saying we're seeing any big personality changes, but like I think we had a very shallow look at who he was before, whereas now we're actually trying to explore who he is a little bit. Yvilda, the granddaughter. Nah, I don't know. Tom with a good point. Just add Hadruden. No reason to make rules that make the stream less fun. Yes, I agree. All right, let's get into it. All right, let's get into it. It's time. All right. How many characters do we have? Roto, Loki. Because I want to go from top down. Like lowest to highest. Roto, Loki. Well, okay, hold on. Will numbers just populate? Hold on. So if I do this. Oh, okay. I think I can do a ranking, this bulleted list. Numbered list. There we go. I like that. And then can I do it in reverse? Is there a way to reverse a numbered list? No, I guess I'll just, as we put characters, we'll say go up or down, basically, right? All right. So I want to start with the worst characters so far. I feel like the worst character so far is probably fucking either, I think it's Goldberg, right? I think we could put Goldberg at the very bottom, or Ange, because she might be a traitor, right? I think Goldberg is a pointless. I kind of want to put Goldberg last because I view Goldberg as a pointless addition to the story. The heck? Yeah, never mind. All right. I'm going to go ahead and put Goldberg. You guys will see. I'll keep bumping characters down as we go. Can we all agree on Goldberg being the worst character? Can I cross him off this list? What about Loki's mystery friend? We have not met Mosa. So Goldberg's off the list. Goldberg has a cool shield. That's not enough for me personally. I don't know about that. Goldberg's the worst character, right? I feel like after that, we got Ange. Because I don't think anybody likes Ange. Because she's not like a sexy giantess like Ripley or Gerd. And she might be a traitor. So I don't know if there's any Ange fans out here. Had to Google who was Goldberg. Exactly. I'm putting Ange next. Do we have anybody else? Anybody that's worse than Goldberg and Ange? In terms of who are the characters that Oda's adding in this arc, I feel like clearly Goldberg is the most forgettable, and then Ange is like, eh. Actually, I don't like Colin. Can I put Colin in? I don't think Colin's a good character so far. I'm not a fan of Colin so far. I'm putting Colin above Goldberg. Actually, Colin might be my least favorite of the arc so far. Can I put Colin last? There's nothing to like about Colin, right? Ange is Saul's girl? Wait, is Ange Saul's girl? Is Ange with Saul? That raises her quite a bit. Okay, what's good about Colin's just annoying. He's just been annoying so far. Look at this. Look at this. He's just been annoying. Did you all forget? Whoops, went way too far back. Also, let's get the stream likes up to 150 real quick. Look at this kid. Look at this kid. Is there going to be a War Shanks? No. Shut up, Colin. He's just a complaining little kid. I don't take hot-headed little kids on board with me. Nice try. What's there to like about Colin? I don't like him so far. Maybe I'll like him by the end. Does anybody remember? I don't know if people remember this. Momonosuke was at one point in the story one of the most hated characters in One Piece. Legitimately. Not in Wano. In Wano, we started seeing more good shit. I think after that confrontation he had with Luffy and Zoe, people started to come around him a bit more. And then by the end of Wano, people tended to really like Momonosuke. I think the new design helped quite a bit. Momonosuke, as of Punk Hazard and Dressrosa, was a strongly disliked character in the fandom. People complained about that kid because it was just this fucking annoying, pervy kid that also spoke really high and mighty and stuff. There's nothing likable about him. Do people remember that? Krovitz says, so you hated Kid Luffy? I mean, I don't like Chapter 1 Luffy. Chapter 1 Luffy's an annoying kid. He is. And then you like him later on once he grows out of that. That's called growth. All right. Let's see. K-Mai says, this is news. I think a lot of people legitimately forgot. Because I've brought this up before and people are like, what? No, Momonosuke's always been a great character. Jens the Normal says Colin isn't a crybaby. Yeah, because he's never experienced jack shit. To me, that's almost worse. Because, he's never experienced the world or, the difficulties of the world, but he fantasizes about being a brave warrior. It's just oh, boy, are we going to have a war? It's no, sit your ass down. You don't know what you're talking about. Neither do I. I've never been to war, but I don't go sitting around talking about how, oh, it'd be so exciting if we did. All right. Is Colin the most annoying character in Elbaf? Yes. No. If someone else is worse than Colin, you got to tell me why. No. Who's more annoying than Colin so far? What the fuck? What? So you hate Usopp too then, huh? No, Usopp from his very first introduction arc was putting his life on the line to save his village. And that was him as just a normal human going up against all the Black Cat pirates. Colin hasn't done jack shit. Jans the Nomad says, is that not a unique approach to a young character? Maybe. We need to see how it turns out. Maybe we'll Listen. This is just right now. This is just current rankings. This is current rankings. What is there to like about Colin? I would love by the end of the arc for me to have like decided that Colin's like the best character, period, you know? Or not the best character, like the same way I didn't like Bonnie at the beginning of Egghead. I think a lot of people were annoyed by Bonnie at the beginning of Egghead because she was fucking shit up and like being kind of an asshole to Vegapunk and Luffy and all of them. By the end of Egghead, you love Bonnie, right? Momonosuke, early on, fucking annoying ass kid. Perverted, talks all high and mighty, ungrateful, yada yada yada. By the end of his story arc, we love Momonosuke. Colin might be the same thing. I'm just talking about right now. What's there to like about Colin right now? Jolly D. Joestar says Roto? No, I think Roto is low-key okay. Roto's actually going to rank pretty high. Mr. Nine says he has a hot mom. That's irrelevant to him. That's irrelevant to... That noted, but it's irrelevant to him. Gabe Sylvester says, Morj, how can you hate the protagonist of Two Piece? Okay, fine. You want something? Here's the kicker. Colin, he's not even an annoying kid. He's like a 20-year-old man who's pretending to be a kid. Like, how about that? Keep in mind, every time you see... Like, look at this shit. This is a fucking 20-year-old adult that's talking about, like, I don't care. I want to stay with him. Grow up. Get a job. Listen to this. Is this not the most annoying... This is 20 years old, right? A year older than Luffy. Take me with you. This is all Colin dialogue, by the way. This is him saying this 3 times in a row. Take me with you. 20-year-old adult saying... This is actually not debatable at this point. 20 years old and yelling about this shit. Older than Luffy. Older than Nami. Adult man. Acting like a little kid. Immature. Is there gonna be a war, Shanks? Shut up. Go get a job. Oh my god. There's no debate anymore. Colin is last. No debate. Luck Fam says this kid souls you, Morj. Yeah, he's a giant. He souls all of us. We would all die to this kid. But that's not the point. Alright. No debate anymore. A grown adult cannot be talking the way Colin talks. He's just easily the most annoying character in the story. I think people are fooled because he looks like a child. But the reality is that he's a grown adult. He's been on this earth for 20 years. There's no excuse. Alright, continuing on. Who we got next? Who do we got next? Oh, it says it's obviously different in giant years. Says who? Does his brain work 3 times slower? I don't think so. Does he have 20 years of experience on this planet? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, it's just over. Right? Does he process things 3 times slower? I don't think there's any evidence that giants process information 3 times slower. Alright, continuing on. Colin's off the list. Worst character so far. Not debatable. Who do we got next? I view these as neutral characters. So I view Stanson as neutral. There's nothing wrong with the dude. He's just Stanson. I like Yorl. I like the Walrus principal guy. I think from here on we've just got some solid characters. I think we're past the bad characters. I think we're at the solid characters. Not even bad. Like Ange and Goldberg aren't bad. It's just there's not much to say about them, right? Who do we have next? Is it Stanson? Is Stanson next? I'm gonna say this. I don't like Gunko. I don't like Gunko so far. I'm gonna go ahead and put Gunko. There's just something that something that's a little annoying to me about Gunko. The prolonged torture of it's the Celestial Dragon bootlicking. That's what's really annoying about Gunko. I'm gonna put Stanson above Gunko. Shit, actually, Gunko might actually piss me off more than any other character. She might be last. She might be worse than Colin. I think Gunko really bothers me. Just the fact that she has sold her soul to the Celestial Dragons, worships the Celestial Dragons, even though she doesn't seem to be a born Celestial Dragon. I think she's the worst character, right? Gunko just feels kind of evil. Like, there's not evil, but like, there's just something especially grimy about like selling out to help the Celestial Dragons and like then putting them on a pedestal. I think it'd be phenomenal if it turns out that Gunko is like a double agent. I think there's two routes with Gunko because of the Revolutionary Army ties and the fact that she is, not a natural Celestial Dragon. Either she's a Revolutionary Army member who sold out the Revolutionary Army in some way to join the Celestial Dragons, which would make her literally one of the worst characters in One Piece history, or she's currently a double agent for the Revolutionaries, which could make her a really cool character. I think her Devil Fruit makes me lean towards being a bad guy, because Devil Fruits tend to reflect the character. So the fact that she seems to believe that fate can't be changed and stuff, it seems to me like there was something that happened in her past that made her sour on the whole Revolutionary Army movement. Dion Locklear says, I think we have different definitions of what a good character is. Oh, okay. If you guys are talking about best written characters, these are not best written characters. This is characters who we like the most. Okay. Note, not... Because it's too early in the arc to have any best written characters. None of them have any... I guess Loki's the only one that has some real depth developing to him. Maybe Hadruden. Note, not best written characters. Just characters we fuck with. I think that's basically it. That's it. Gunko, don't like Gunko. Right? And that doesn't mean that villains are disqualified. Like, Sommer seems cool, even though he's an asshole. But, like, there's different categories of villains. Like, there's villains that, like, just piss you off so much, like Spandam. And then there's villains that, like, they're bad guys, like Lucci. Like, they're terrible, but they're still cool in their own way. You know what I mean? Like, Spandam, Orochi, there's something, like, especially grimy that makes them not likable even as villains. Gunko, to me, is falling into that category where it's, like, just, it seems as though she seems to have sold out her soul to help the Celestial Dragons, and she talks up the Celestial Dragons more than the Celestial Dragons fucking do. She's just like, it would be a privilege to be part of the Celestial Dragons, etc. Alright. Yeah, it's okay to like characters even if they're bad. It's just like, how enjoyable are these characters? Just characters we fuck with / think are cool so far. / enjoyable. Alright. So I got Gunko last, then Colin, annoying Colin, 20-year-old man. Goldberg, pretty neutral, but a waste of space. Ange, I only have Stanson above Ange because he's essentially he did have that moose feat. He did help with the moose. Hadruden couldn't have gotten up that moose up the mountain without help. Mato is so neutral. I like Mato. I like her better than Stanson. Because she reminds us of Makino, right? So I like Mato. Similar vibes. Alright. We got Stanson out of there. Do we want Ange or Stanson? Who's better? Ange or Stanson? Ange or Stanson? Who's up, who's down? This is tight. What a battle. Edge versus Stanson. Also, let's get the stream likes up to 150 real quick. Let's get the stream likes up to 150. Oh, shit. This is tight. People feel strongly about this. The vote... well, actually, people don't feel strongly about this, so the vote count is low. But I'll say this. The vote count right now is so low that your vote really matters. If you vote in this, you can legitimately swing it back and forth. So get your votes in. Your vote actually counts here. Your vote always counts, but like I'm saying a single vote right here can kind of decide things. All right. I'm going to call it in 10 seconds. 10. Nah, I'll count in my head. This is fucking tight. Yeah, get your votes in. Now the votes are kind of streaming in. Yeah, it's fucking neck and neck. Any single vote swings it. This is actually a battle for the ages. Do you guys want to look back? Why don't I pull up... Let me fucking pull up the arc. Let me pull up the arc. Let's take a trip down memory lane. So at this point in time, we really just have Loki, right? Not much needs to be said about Loki, right? We don't need to revisit all this. But what's going on with everybody else? So we got Roto, this Roto situation. Ah, there's our boy Stanson. Let's revisit some classic Stanson dialogue. Remember when Stanson's... Oh my god, this is embarrassing. Remember when Stanson said, "But how will we carry this monster?" He says about a moose. All right. He's apparently their shipwright. All right. We are the mighty warriors of Elbaf, they say, as they carry the moose. So that was kind of, as far as I recall, that may have been Stanson's shining moment in the arc. But here comes Ange. Here comes Ange. Here we go. I think we got to skip a couple chapters to get there. Because 11:33 is when we get Saul, right? So where's Ange at? Oh, maybe we kind of skipped her introduction a little bit. Hold on. Oh, no. That seemed like the introduction. Okay, forgive the late introduction. I am here. Okay, we're getting some classic Ange moments here. Forgive the late introduction. I'm Mr. Saul's assistant, Ange. I don't know why something about her rubbed people the wrong way. I'd show you around if you'd like. Classic Ange stuff. So long, Ange and Gerd. We're getting some quality Ange screen time here. So what's it going to be now? Oh my god. It swung people's votes over more so to Stanson. Ripley, we already know, is going to rank a little bit high. We will take all the strong women we can get in One Piece. All right, it looks like Stanson's taking it over Ange. Literally nothing Ange could do. It seems like the moment that Stanson said his classic line of "How are we going to carry this?" Ange's fate was sealed. Sealed. Oh fuck. All right, here we go. Yeah, the ranking is based on who's more likable. I think Stanson clears, which is a damn shame because Stanson didn't do jack shit except suggest that they would not be able to carry a moose. And Ange hasn't done anything bad. She's the teacher. She teaches. I guess it's because we know Stanson from before. So we know we're already familiar. We're old friends with Stanson, you know? So that does play a role in this, naturally. Like, we already know some stuff about Hudruden. So it gives a bit of a boost. All right, continuing on. From here on, I think it's just likable characters. I think from here on, it's just... Okay, no, that's not true. I mean, it is true. I think the Walrus Principal guy goes. I think that's the last neutral character. Walrus Principal guy. No offense to him. It's just from here on, we've got characters that are, we actually like, you know? All right, here we go. Oh, I got to get rid of Gunko, right? Let me put Hudruden here. Get rid of this. All right, we're getting into the good stuff. Let's get the stream likes up to 150 real quick. Jolly D. Joestar says, mind you, Stanson got captured by Saboti nobodies. Yeah, they must have been moose level or up. Krovitz, thanks a lot. Ange seems evil because her eyelashes go down. Is that actually a point? Because subtle ways in which characters are written does make a difference. Or written as in drawn, sorry. That's a good point. Hold on. Okay, it's not the same, but it reminds me of this character from Yu-Gi-Oh! It's not the same. For some reason, it just made me check that. But yeah, there's just something unlikable about her face. Or something a little bit shifty about her face. I could easily see Oda pulling a York with her. If she turns out to be a good person, it's totally understand. Like, it's just a red herring or something like that. It was pointed out last stream that she also didn't get hurt by the thorns, right? So she didn't try to touch the kids. But it's possible that she wasn't around, like she didn't try to touch them or something like that. I don't know. Angrboda is mother of monsters. What does that mean? Angrboda. Oh, this is Norse. But this is spelled differently. It's not Ange, it's Angrboda. Angrboda. She's the mate of Loki and mother of Morj. Oh, maybe, is that what someone said? No, that doesn't make sense. What if Ange is Mosa? Does that make any sense? I don't think so, right? I don't think that makes sense. Anyway, that'd be kind of crazy, though. How dare you forget Biblo? Oh, the owl? But the owl doesn't talk, so we'll leave him alone. All right, now it gets tricky. I think next, I like Yorl. I'm going to go ahead and put killing him. I think, okay. This is tricky. This is difficult. I think we haven't seen that much of killing him. Do people disagree with killing him being next? Do people disagree with that? I feel like people like Sommers. I feel like people fuck with Sommers more than killing him. I think we just haven't seen much of killing him, right? So it's no offense to him. It's just we haven't seen much of him. Is killing him next? Yorl is dead, Morj? I'm sorry. But I like Jarl now. I changed my opinion on him. If you guys remember, I used to make fun of him a lot for being the bum that lost a 5-year-old Big Mom. But ever since, I think he is actually low-key one of my favorite comedy characters so far. I think he's my favorite comedy character so far at Elbaf. He's just so nonsensical. And he was like, oh no, my great-great-great-granddaughter is being kidnapped and shit. I like when characters... I like when Oda's able to invent new gags for certain characters. And, like, I don't think Oda's done the gag of, like, this guy's just randomly really fucking old. But he doesn't realize it. I like that that's a... Yeah, I don't know. Like, Korea kind of had a gag like that, but it wasn't the same. Like, Korea's gag was, like, she's so sharp and alert. Like, how is she so young? Like, there was a question mark about that. Like, she doesn't actually look like she's 140 or whatever. But Jarl is clearly fucking old as fuck, and he's like, my type, I'm into older women. It's like, you're the oldest person on the planet. Newx7, thanks a lot. Morj, making my first YouTube video. What program do you use? So, back when I used to edit, because I've actually picked up editing again recently, but not for my YouTube videos. Back when I used to edit, I used to use Sony Vegas because it was the easiest program. Like, it's the easiest program for, like, if Adobe Premiere is like the good one, right? Like, that's like the high level one. Then Sony Vegas is like, and Windows Movie Maker, because back then there was Windows Movie Maker, that's like the free thing. Sony Vegas was like that nice middle ground. So I used to use Sony Vegas back when I was like editing. My editor, like the actual editor for the channel, he uses Adobe Premiere. And I have since, actually in the last couple months, learned how to do Adobe Premiere myself. But at a very, 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 very low level, minimal level. Like super low level, minimal level. Like really just cuts and fades in, fades out and stuff like that. My editor still does all of the editing. That's basically just like I needed to have some emergency editing skills, and it had been so fucking long since I'd edited. I tried going back to Sony Vegas, but you have to buy a thing and stuff like that. It's just it's a pain in the ass. Adobe Premiere, you can just pay a subscription and you're fine. Mr. Nine says, I've never seen a stream with only L takes. What do you guys disagree with so far? Who should be higher or lower? Yeah, just use Premiere. I agree, Eric. Newx7, I would recommend just learn Premiere. Because, like, you could learn Vegas and have, like, that down or whatever, and it's easier. But I think just take the time, learn Premiere. It's not hard to learn once you get it a little bit. Colin and Gunko? Call in number what? What? Kid should be on the list, Morj. Oh yeah, we can throw Kid on there. No, we're going with characters who we don't know that well before Elbaf. Kid we've spent too much time with. It would be nice if we learned more about Kid and open up a whole different dimension to his character, but at this moment in time, he's not there. Party McFly, thanks for the 5. Hey Morj, are you at all excited for the anime to come back? Do you think that they will make any major improvements after this huge break? Yeah, I'm very excited actually for the anime to come back. I am genuinely hopeful that from here on we can get like a true normally paced version of One Piece. Like if it's just paced at pre-time skip pacing, I would be okay with it. I don't need it to be crazy. Like I don't need to feel like Solo Leveling, which I was just watching. Like just get back to pre-time skip level pacing. That's all I'm asking for. So if we can get back to that, I would be happy to regularly watch One Piece anime episodes and react to One Piece anime episodes. If we can get back to that. Like that's all I really ask for. So I am excited. I'm going to be watching. This Monday's stream, I will react to the 2 anime. Sorry, it's the April, right? April is when those episodes come out. So in April, I will react to those anime episodes at the start of April. So I'm excited. Tom, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 30 months, man. Thanks, Tom. What are your favorite wrong theories? One I really liked was where Luffy would have had 5 forms for Gear 4th. As always, your streams make my day. Watch Kaiji. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. My favorite wrong theories, the raid failing. I do need to watch Kaiji. I'll put Kaiji. No, I think I've got Kaiji as like on there. It's on there. Don't worry. Yeah, I think I also really like the theory of Shanks being Rox's son, but then it turned out Shanks is a celestial dragon child, so it still was very interesting, just not the direction that people thought. It opens the window for other characters being Rox's son, Rox's kid, if he has one, like a Blackbeard. I think Blackbeard being Rox's kid would be kind of generic, but maybe it's cool. Maybe it makes sense. Katakuri beating Kaido and Big Mom's kid, that was a really exciting theory. That was a really cool theory for a while. Now it seems, now that we know so much about both of them, and we have new characters like Yamato and stuff like that, and we know a little bit more about Kaido's potential lineage and everything, Katakuri being Kaido and Big Mom's kid, I wouldn't like that anymore as a theory. But for a long period of time, that was a very, very interesting possibility. I think those are some of my favorite ones that I could think of, like that didn't turn out being true. Is there any other big one that's kind of recent? No, there's not another big one that I can think of that's recent. All right. Where we at? Okay. Yeah, I think Killingham is next, right? Like, because most people, like, just looking at this list. Okay, I think if it's not Killingham, then it's either Roto, Hajrudin. I feel like Roto grew on people a little bit. Here's the things I know. Okay, hold on. I know that Loki is above Killingham, Gerd is above Killingham, Ripley is above Killingham, Jarl is above Killingham, Scopper Gaban, Shamrock, Sommers are all above Killingham. So the only options we have are Roto, or Hajrudin being above Killingham, right? So who's higher or lower? Who do you like more? All right, get your votes in. This is another tight one. Yeah, you guys act like I'm making crazy choices when I'm just saying this character's above that character, but then I put it to vote, and it's like, oh, no, this is like a good decision point. It is hard to tell who should be higher, Hajrudin or Killingham. All right. We're going to end in 5 seconds. All right. Closing up shop. Hadrudin edges it out over killing him just barely. But then that leads to the question, who do we like better? Who do you like better so far? Roto or killing him? Tom says hydrogen bomb or coughing baby. It was very close, remarkably close. Like extremely close. It's the most powerful coughing baby of all time if it went like extreme diff with the hydrogen bomb. These are close ass fights. Like these are close. Surprised people were acting like it's cut and dry. All right, it's tight. Okay, so the sense I'm getting is that Roto and Killing Him are tight, and then Killing Him and Hadrudin were tight, and then the order you guys went with was, you guys went with Hadrudin greater than Killing Him greater than Roto. I respectfully disagree. I'm with you on Hadrudin over Killing Him. I disagree with Roto. I still maintain that Hadrudin is a bum. Killing Him we might like more as time goes on. I just don't have much of a read on his character yet. I think Roto's he's slowly become some nice comic entertainment for me. Some nice little comic entertainment. I'm okay with that. Comedy entertainment. Comic relief, right? I'm okay with that. So far I like him more than Hadrudin, and no disrespect to Killing Him, but not much has happened with him just yet. And I've had a low opinion of him ever since the Makvi situation, and then unfortunately the Moose situation basically hammered it in. So Hadrudin, like, I'm interested to see where Hadrudin's character goes. But I think that, yeah, I'm interested to see where Hadrudin's character goes. I think that at the moment, it's just, he's not more entertaining to me than Roto. I find Roto more fun. That's all I'll say. All right. Respectfully disagree. All right. Continuing on. Now we're in the big leagues. We only got good-ass characters here. I think if I were to rate these, I would say that these two are characters that I kind of dislike. These are characters that are like neutral. I'm actually going to go ahead and put Ange below Goldberg. No, Ange and Stanson went high diff, so I feel like it's wrong to put Ange above. Yeah. Ange, there is just something suspicious about her. But like, let's say that these characters are basically neutral. Right? These are fairly neutral characters. Then here we're getting the characters that, you know, we don't know much about, but like we get a good vibe from them. I think these are characters that are like, okay, now we're talking about characters that are somewhat like they're actually playing a role in the story and they have some level of reason for us to be interested in them. They're bringing something to the story potentially, right? These are the characters that are great. Jarl, funniest man in Elbaf. Gerd, Ripley, no explanations needed. Skopper, Gaban, Loki, Shamrock, no explanations needed, right? Like, what's there to say? I'm gonna go ahead and put Jarl next. Any objections? He's had very, very little screen time, so I think it wouldn't be quite right to put Jarl higher. But very, very limited screen time. I think it's just Gerd next after Jarl, right? We got Gerd. I think Ripley is next. And then we got both solid characters. Ripley has very interesting potential because you do want a strong female warrior in Elbaf, ideally. Like, that would be cool to see. And honestly, out of all the Elbaf warriors, Ripley seems to have, like, the closest to the... I guess Jory and Brogy, those are also old school warriors, right? So Ripley, there's interesting potential there. Loki, Scopper, Gaban, and Shamrock. I'm going to go ahead and put Shamrock at number 3. I don't know if you guys agree with this. I feel like Shamrock hasn't done much yet. What do you guys feel? What do you guys feel? Do you guys want... Maybe Shamrock should be lower. Maybe Shamrock should be below... Okay, let's do this. Do you like Shamrock or Ripley better? Oh shit, Sommers. I erased Sommers. Oh my god. I think Sommers is... Okay, sorry. Let me put Sommers back in there. Fuck. Alright, get your votes in. Get your votes in. We'll figure out Sommers after this. This is tight. Alright, I'll give it 10 seconds. This is tight shit. This is important stuff. Get your votes in. Alright, we are going to call it right in 5 seconds. 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it looks like... Oh. Fuck. People are still voting. Okay, I'll give it 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I feel like... Okay. We're just going to call it here. Because the first time I should have called it when Ripley was ahead. But then there was a surge right then, so it felt wrong. Oh, I thought Ripley went ahead. This might just have to be a me pick. I'm going to go ahead and put... First of all, how do you guys feel about Sommers versus Shamrock? Let me take these guys off. Shamrock won. If I'd called it when I was supposed to, but I misclicked, then Ripley would have won. But I guess you got to wait for as many votes as possible. So Shamrock did win. See, the tricky thing about Shamrock is that we've seen almost nothing of him, right? So, like, I'm sure that by the end of the arc, Shamrock will be a very, like, if not a liked character, he will be, like, considered a cool villain. You know what I mean? Like a Lucci or Doflamingo or whatever, you know? Or like a Crocodile or, like... I don't think he'll be a sympathetic villain like Kaido was, because Celestial Dragon stuff. Kaido's sympathetic, you know, to a degree. But, yeah, right now, Shamrock hasn't really done jack shit. All right. It looks like for this one, Shamrock is taking it. That's interesting to me because I actually thought that... I'm going to go ahead and put Sommers above Gerd. I actually thought that Sommers is actually so far more interesting to me than... I think I've liked... I just don't think I've gotten a read on Shamrock as a character almost at all so far. Just not much... Not a very impactful introduction outside of the fact that he exists. Being an impactful fact, but not an impactful scene. And then very basic dialogue so far, like standard Celestial Dragon shit. Just like a Celestial Dragon who's kind of a bit more, like, military commander-minded. And then he used Cerberus sword, so didn't really get to see any action out of him. So there's not much for me with Shamrock, but he is a top 3 most interesting character for me so far in Elbaf. So I would give him for that. I think next is Scopper Gaban. But I'll give you guys the poll for it. I'll give you guys the poll, but I just don't view it as much of a poll. From what we've seen, Scopper Gaban is like actually a fun character that's made an impression on me. I imagine by the end of the arc, Shamrock will be like a really cool character, at least a really cool villain, like Evil Shanks. How you can't really go wrong with that. But at the moment, Scopper Gaban, like come on. All right, overwhelming landslide. I think Scopper's easily been the second most fun character in the story for me besides Loki. But I'll let you guys decide that. Favorite character in Elbaf so far? All right. All right, everybody. Tom says, may DM you a business thing later. That reminds me. Let me show you guys something pretty cool. Give me a second here. So this is a business that reached out to us that I want to share with you all. It's called Manga Mart, and it's got solo leveling on the cover. So this is, just to be very, very clear, this is literally just a site where you can get manga for cheap. You can buy manga volumes for cheaper. It's manga volumes that are heavily discounted, so you can buy them in bulk. Basically just all these manga you can buy in bulk. You can buy them for 25% discounts. And if you want to use a code, you can also get an additional... If you want to use a promo code Mr. Morj, you can get an additional 10% off all pre-orders or box sets. So that's on top of 25% off. So something to consider for you all. I think this site has really, really good deals. It has pretty much any manga that you can think of. And yeah, it's just huge collections. You can get favorite manga from here, heavily discounted. Some stuff's on clearance, so it's even more heavily discounted. And if you want to use my code Mr. Morj, you can get it even more discounted. So just check this out. I'm going to pin it for you all in case you all are interested. But it's a great site for just discounted manga in general. And again, if you want to use my code, you get another additional 10% off. So if you want to save 25% off your manga orders, if you want to save an additional 10% off, so like 30-ish% off, I don't know if it's 25% and then 10% of the following value or 25 plus 10, so 35% off. But you get a good discount. Like you're getting manga for at least 30% off, basically. If you want to, then definitely check out this site. Use my code. The code is just Mr. Morj. I'll pin it for you all so you have it. And this is a small business. This is a small business store. It's run by two brothers, I believe. So if you guys want to check that out, I definitely recommend checking this out. This is not a sponsored post or anything like that. They just reached out for me, so and they gave a code if viewers want to use it. But yeah, if you don't want to use it, then send it to some friends or something like that. I think that they could use the support. But yeah, if you guys want to check out Manga Mart, want to get some volumes for a heavy discount, then I'm just going to pin this for you all. Wait. Ender Anami says, I've heard nothing good things about Manga Mart. Wait, what does that mean? What does that mean? Oh, nothing but good things. Oh my god, thank God. Okay, all right. All right, okay. I'm just checking because literally it's just a guy that reached out that basically told me about this site. Okay, that's important. All right. This is literally not a sponsored post or anything, because I told him my sponsored video price. He said he couldn't do that. So I was just like, well, I can shout you out in a stream or something. Okay, this is not a sponsored thing. All right, that's an important typo, because you did make me worry there for a second. All right, I'm going to post the link then. I'm going to post the link. Here. Hold on. Wait. Let me post it with the thing. Code Mr. Morj. Is that right? Yep. There we go. All right. And looking at the poll, it does look like Loki took it. All right. Yeah, all right. Looks like Loki took it. To nobody's surprise, Loki, I think, has been easily the best character in Elbaf, and I think Loki's probably the coolest new character introduced in One Piece in a long... Like, I think he's probably the most interesting new character introduced in One Piece in a long time. I'd say before this, maybe... Like, that's not saying anything crazy, because it's just like, before this we had... Egghead didn't introduce a ton of new characters. It just elaborated on characters we already knew, like Kuma, etc. Vegapunk, I guess you could say. And Vegapunk is... I like Vegapunk as a character, personally. I like Vegapunk as a character. Catching up on supers here real quick. Krovitz, thanks a lot. Who's more of a fanfic / OC? Sabo or Shamrock? I don't think Shamrock's like a fanfic or OC type character. I don't think... Sabo does at times feel like just I need to see Sabo's final role in the story. Like, is there a really interesting character arc for him or something? Is there like a really interesting... Like, with Ace had a really powerful, compelling story to himself, right? And like Ace died kind of like because it was like there can only be one at the end of the day, right? Like, you can't have two. Ace was essentially written and shaped like this, like he would be the successor to Roger, but you can only have one. Like, he would be a complication to Luffy's role as the ultimate, like, true bringer of the dawn or whatever, because Ace had that type of potential and that type of role in the One Piece world in general. So Ace's death was this sort of beautiful tragedy, right? Sabo's not written like that, and he's not written to ever be able to get close to the heights of Ace. Like, he's deliberately not a Conqueror's Haki user or anything like that. But my question is, at the end of the day, like, what is he supposed to be? Is he just supposed to be like, so that Luffy has a backup brother, and Oda didn't really have like an exact role in mind for him, so he came, or like role or story, so he's like, okay, if Luffy's gonna have a backup brother, and it's just supposed to be like this cool character that doesn't really, but not really some significant character storyline for him, it's like, okay, well, I'll put him in the Revolutionaries, so he's not in the Strides, but like he's doing cool things in the background, but ultimately it's just like something that slots into the broader Dragon storyline. I mean, he is making an impact, like the Flame Emperor and everything like that, and Oda's now able to use him for scenes like the throne room scene and everything, like scenes that Dragon wouldn't be present for. But I'm just curious, like, is Sabo's role ultimately just to be like a sort of like budget Ace that we have? So there is this still this cool older brother type character, but he's not going to have like the impact or relevance or like strength that the OG did, because like Ace was just too much. Like, Ace had Gold Roger level potential. You can't have that in the story, right? So you change it to Sabo, and Sabo can be influential and like do things, right? Like the Flame Emperor stuff is important. Where's his character heading? Like, is there going to be something really deep and significant with Sabo that happens? Like, I think there's just two routes that can happen for Sabo. Either Sabo is the super important dude who's going to be written to like fight Akainu or something like that, and there's some like beautiful storytelling that's going to happen here and like some really significant character shit. Or Sabo is just like to have a backup brother for Luffy or something, and like he's going to do some cool, impactful shit, but ultimately it's not going to be as important as like characters that have been, like the Straw Hats, obviously, or even like Trafalgar Law, or things like that, or even like Kobe. I don't know. Like, even with Kobe, there's like character arc stuff there, you know? Like Law, he had significant character arc stuff there. What's the storyline heading towards with Sabo? That's my question. Because like I think that's why people call him like an OC slash fanfic type character. It's like, yeah, it's like it's not Ace, but it's like this cool brother who's like because Dragon kind of takes a backseat in the Revolutionary Army, so like Sabo's effectively like the star of the show of the Revolutionary Army, and he gets to do cool stuff and be involved and make an impact in the world. But there's not much depth there character-wise so far. And there seems to be a ceiling to his importance based on the fact that his strength seems to have a hard cap. So I don't know. We got to wait and see. Shamrock doesn't seem like a fanfic. Like, I guess Evil Shanks does seem like a fanfic idea, right? Evil Shanks, a second brother for Luffy. I would say that I think Luffy having a second brother, I thought that was straight up for a while bad for the story. I think I'm mentally adjusted to Sabo, because I think the idea of losing Ace was that Luffy was losing something just irreplaceable, the only brother that he had. Like, that's literally something that he even says in the Marineford arc, like or Impel Down or something, like, please, you have to let me go. Like, Ace is the only brother I have. I think that was important, that Luffy should lose the only brother he had. And then that makes him recognizing that, no, the Straughts are my family. That gives it weight. Luffy getting to get Sabo back, it's not the same as getting Ace back. Obviously, you can't just replace a person with, like they're not identical, but it does feel like it healed something for Luffy that didn't need to be healed, I think. Like, it's better for Luffy to walk with that hole in his heart without sort of patching it up a little bit. Like, Sabo doesn't fix the hole, but it patches it up a little bit, right? But as the story went and I saw Sabo have more and more plot relevance, I was like, okay, maybe there's something more to why this character is here, right? Evil Shanks, like Shanks having an evil twin just sounds like such a ridiculously silly idea that, like, it's so easy to forget that for a long time that was viewed as like a joke, stupid idea, right? And like anytime it was brought up or mentioned, it was just like, no, that's fucking stupid. Obviously that was Shanks talking to the Gorosei. Now it's just like, now you just accept it as being a thing. So now it's just been long enough that I mentally accept that Luffy has another brother, and that I even mentally accept that Shanks has another brother, and I just don't think much about it now. I think Shanks having an evil twin, evil brother, does seem like the more fan-fiction-y, but that might just be because it's more recent, whereas we've had so much time with Sabo, you know? Eric, what's up, man? Thanks. Sabo versus Law in a bum off. It pains me to say this, but I think Law is better than Sabo, clearly. Like, even if you want to get away from the power scaling or whatever, you can get away from the power scaling. That's fine. I think in terms of, like, effectiveness, right? You cannot deny that, like, and you guys know how I hate Law. I don't hate Sabo. I just question, like, his character is just there for me. I never get excited about him. I don't dislike him. There was a point where I thought I didn't like the fact that he existed in the story. I've come around to that, and I'm just open-mindedly curious, basically. The one thing that bothers me about Sabo is just, like, his fans seem to, like all the Ace fans, I think, found a second home with Sabo without really recognizing, like, Sabo is very deliberately not Ace and never supposed to be anywhere close to as great as Ace, right? Like, that's why he's not a Conqueror's Haki user. He's fundamentally different, right? Like, yeah, Sabo and Ace were very close in strength as kids, and Ace was just slightly better as kids. But the other thing that was highlighted about them as kids is that Ace had, like, another gear. Like, when it was basically, like, time to actually fight to the death and, like, fight without running away or whatever, Ace would stand and fight, whereas Sabo would run. And that's why Ace was a Conqueror's Haki user. And that's why it was specifically explained by Garp that, like, Ace is like his father, Roger. Like, Roger would also never run. That's what makes them so ridiculously strong. And Luffy kind of had to learn that same sort of nature post-timescale. Like, he had to learn that lesson. Like, I can't run anymore. That's what he's telling Fujitora. That's what he's telling Katakuri, yada, yada. Sabo's not supposed to be like that. So Sabo is not even, like, a second Ace. He's a fundamentally different character than Ace. But I think a lot of people just love Sabo because it's just like, We got Ace back. It's Luffy's older brother uses fire, second in command of Revolutionary. It's like basically Ace. Like, we got Ace back, right? Even wears a fucking hat. It's not Ace. It's Budget Ace. I don't dislike Sabo. I just view him as like, I don't see what everybody else loves about him, but I'm open to the character doing cool things. That being said, in terms of like Sabo or Law, at the end of the day, like, Law has done so much more impressive shit than Sabo. It's like not even close. The entire orchestrated plan to defeat Kaido and Big Mom, everything from like what happened at Punk Hazard to the cutting off of the supply chain in Dressrosa, right? Like, to leading to essentially what the alliance was to take down Kaido and Big Mom. Like, he set the gears in motion for all of that. And he was still doing strategy work for the alliance and like coming in clutch with their planning, etc. Heading into Onigashima itself, right? Even when that wasn't his job anymore, and like the alliance had kind of been taken over more so by Kinemon and stuff like that. But Law was still masterminding that shit. And Law did legitimately help in the fight against Kaido. And he was legitimately a huge part in the defeat of the Yonko Big Mom. Like, that's all really fucking big shit. Like, so, like, everything that Luffy has done to impact the New World, right? Law is right there behind him in terms of having been the maestro for a lot of that happening, right? With Sabo, it's fucking Daddy Dragon that's doing pretty much all the planning, right? Like, this is all Dragon's plans and shit that are being executed. It's like, Law is basically doing Dragon's job, right? That's what Law basically did. Like, he was the mastermind for a lot of this. If you look at everything Sabo's done, it's like he beat Burgess. Cool. He beat Burgess, so that helps the Dressrosa incident. But Law obviously has a much bigger role to play in that whole Dressrosa incident. And then you look at the Revolutionary Army raid, and it's like, that was a team effort. That wasn't like a Sabo only thing. That was a team effort. Like, everybody was involved in that shit, you know? Sabo ultimately, like, that wasn't his plan. That was Dragon's plan. Sabo didn't even fucking fight an admiral during that. Morley and Karasu were fighting the admirals. So it wasn't just a Sabo thing. Like, it was, he ultimately got a lot of the glory for what happened there without really, like, it was more so, like he didn't do the combat part. He didn't do the brainstorming part. That was Dragon, right? So, like, ultimately, his biggest thing was seeing Emu running away and letting Cobra die. It just doesn't seem as like, I don't know how that remotely compares to how much of an impact Law had on that entire sequence of events of like taking down the biggest like underworld broker with Doflamingo, and then taking down like being crucial to taking down 2 fucking emperors, right? Like, that whole plan doesn't really happen without Law. I just don't think that, like, I think Sabo is a character who, like, much like in the fandom, he's very overrated. I think in the One Piece world as well, Sabo is being given credit for the Flame Emperor. Like, he's being given credit for a lot of shit that, like, wasn't really just, like, his shit. Like, Dragon did the planning, Morley and Karasu did the bulk of the fighting. Sabo burned the flag or whatever, and he ran away from the Gorosei, which is essentially his contributions to that. I think that you stack up in terms of what he actually did to the reputation he's getting in the world and in the outside, like, real world One Piece fandom, and there's like a big disparity there. Versus with Law, it's like, I've made fun of like Kid having a 3 billion berry bounty. Law should have his bounty. I think Law's bounty is warranted considering how much work he put in over the course of it. I just think Luffy's bounty should be significantly higher. I think it's ridiculous. Like, Luffy and Law should never have the same bounty. Like, if you actually gave Luffy the credit he's due for all of the, like, the level of strength he's at, the combat feats he did, and then all of his territories and alliances and, like, the road poneglyphs, like, everything, Luffy's bounty should be, like, way higher. Like, billions higher than what it is. I think it's fair that Law has, like, a 2 billion, 3 billion bounty or something. Kid's the one that makes no fucking sense. Anyway, continuing on. Akash Panda says, did he burn the flag, though? I don't know. Eric Trolado says, Law needed Luffy to carry, though. Yeah, but it's just like no one's saying that Law did it all himself either, right? I'm just saying if you're comparing how much Law actually like Law can't, no one can defeat two Yonko by themselves, right? I'm not saying Law did it all either. I'm just saying like how much Law contributed. He contributed one thing which is like undeniably huge, which is masterminding the whole sequence of events, right? That's undeniably huge. And then the other part is that and he came in clutch in terms of like course correcting their plans at crucial moments, right? So that's one, that's all Law. So essentially it's the same as like being the dragon of the entire operation to take down Kaido, Big Mom, Doflamingo, etc., right? Then two, he was actually actively involved in the combat, right? Like, yeah, he didn't defeat Doflamingo himself, but he helped, right? He didn't defeat Kaido or Big Mom by himself, but he helped in both of those scenarios. And in Big Mom, it was fairly substantial, right? Sabo has it, like, you're comparing significant combat accomplishments to Sabo who didn't do anything. In the Reverie, he didn't fight anybody. Morley and Karasu did. Sabo didn't fight any admirals then. He didn't fucking fight the Gorosei. He ran away from them. Like, there's no... Like, you're comparing a lot to basically nothing. There's a huge disparity. Like, you can say, well, Law didn't do all the fighting by himself, right? But he contributed. Sabo didn't. There's not really a point of comparison there. He got credit for a lot of stuff, like potentially burning the flag or whatever, but he didn't do anything himself. He got credit for killing Cobra, but he didn't do that, right? Like, the whole idea is that Sabo's getting a lot of credit for stuff he didn't do. And then in terms of planning and masterminding, yeah, Law did a lot for the Alliance between the entire... Like, taking down Caesar's stuff, so cutting off the supply, then Doflamingo, cutting out the distributor, and then the whole plan on Onigashima. That was like a lot if it was Law, right? Sabo didn't do the fucking planning for the Revolutionary Army. That was Dragon's plan. That was his mastermind. Like, he came up with that shit, right? What did Sabo actually do in the Reverie? He ran away from the Gorosei and Imu, and he let Cobra die. There's a huge disparity in terms... Like, that's my biggest frustration with Sabo, which is like, he doesn't do that much. In the course, if you add up everything that he's done in the story, he stalled Fujitora when Fujitora wasn't trying. That's his only thing that he's ever done in the entire story. That's impressive, right? If you want to count beating Burgess, then it's like, what are we even doing at that point? Like, why are we counting beating Burgess? Like, what the like, that's so absurdly such a low bar. It's just like, I don't even know what to say, right? So he stalled Fujitora once. Like, you stack that up to everything Law's done in terms of combat and in terms of, like, actual planning, strategy, like, bringing... Like, the whole fucking train to take down Kaido and Big Mom, it began with fucking Law in Punk Hazard. Like, this was his vision. It didn't go exactly the way that he planned, but none of this happens without him, right? And I don't like Law. I don't. He's not a character that I like. I think he's a fucking character that stole a bunch of attention from the fucking... what do you call... Like, this is where we're at. This is where the fucking Sabo fanboys are at. Kenji YST says, no Devil Fruit Burgess. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I misunderstood. Yeah. Burgess didn't even have a Devil Fruit at that point in time, it seems like. Mr. 9 says he carries Cobra's message. Yeah, I guess. That sounds good. Like, do you put that up against, like, everything that Law did in the entire Onigashima raid? Like, straight up from chapter 600, like 60 or 70 or something, everything that happens from there to like 1050, that's all fucking Law's shit that he puts in motion and generally guides and gets them there, you know? I think Law is just terribly overrated in terms of the feats that he has, but then Sabo's terribly overrated for feats that he doesn't even have. Does that make sense? Like, he doesn't even have any. Like, he has not done anything. He hasn't done anything. Like, people legitimately talk about him, like, escaping the Gorosei. It's like, dude, that's like saying, like, Beppo gets points for, like, escape. Like, no, Beppo's escape from Blackbeard and Van Augur was more impressive because Beppo actually, like, attacked them and then managed to escape. Like attacked them effectively. Sabo didn't do anything. Like, his move was ineffective, and then he runs away, so everyone's like, oh my god, though. Did you see the way he runs, though? Did you see that jogging motion? What the fuck? Like, that's why I'm confused about the Sabo gas, because it's just like, I think a lot of people overrate Sabo because they still view it as Ace. So they're like, well, Sabo's probably supposed to have a similar role or status in the story as Ace, but it's like, no. That's why Oda killed Ace, because you couldn't have a guy like Ace running around in the story. If you did, then Luffy might legitimately have trouble being like the sole protagonist of the story, because you've got this other dude that's basically like the next Gold Roger in the making coming up. So Oda had to cut Ace to insert like a sort of heavily I don't want to be insulting, I guess, but like Sabo's still strong, he's still a cool character, etc. But like the simple fact is, like, Oda's not writing him with Conqueror's Haki, and he made that distinction when Sabo and Ace were children. Ace never backs down. Sabo is the guy who's going to run, right? Luffy, part of his growth into becoming a conqueror was learning to not back down. That's like a lot of the discussion of his growth post time skip, like from pre-time skip to post time skip. All right, continuing on. Growth Stonks, thanks for the 5. Will Shamrock return the arc with Garling and Full Gods Knights? Garling, the one who killed Harold, since Shamrock could be sentimental to Harold. So what's interesting is that, like, what I've read is that from the Japanese translation, the part where Shamrock says something like, or like the Gods Knights talk about like, oh, are you going to visit Harold's grave or something? That's sarcastic. So they're not actually confirmed to be sentimental towards Harold. I think that this arc, so the Full Gods Knights and Shamrock. So here's the thing. I still believe that the majority of the Gods Knights will go down in the final war and not necessarily here. That's what I kind of believe at this point in time. At the same time, we do need to see Garling in action, and we need to see Shamrock in action. And the tricky thing is that, like, there is action happening at Marijoa as well. So the revolutionaries are leading a siege there. So there's room to have Garling do something there, or have some of the Gods Knights show out there. So it's hard to say whether or not, like, we need Garling and them to show. Garling's a Gorosei. I don't think Garling's going to show up at Elbaf. I'm going to say that. I might be wrong. It'd be cool. But if Garling's going to have a showing, it might be against the revolutionaries or something like that. Michelle Ling, thanks for the 5. Hey, Morj, found the channel 6 years ago, but forgot about you for the last 2 years because I never subbed. Glad you're well. Is the Wano video abandoned? Thank you for your first super ever. No, the Wano video is not abandoned. I'm just trying to find time to finish it up. That's basically it. It's not abandoned. I want it off my plate so bad just to be done with it. But I think it's one of those things where it's just like, it's been a thing for so long that, like, me trying to just finish the draft, finish the final draft or whatever, it just seems like it's just something I've been putting off for so long. I wish I could give more updates, but I'm tired of giving updates because I feel like if I give updates, then, like, it just it will make people want to talk about it more, if that makes sense. But I do want to just finish it. I do just want to finish it. It's not done yet, though. All right. I think we hit a good time. I think we hit a good time. I am going to call things here. How do we feel about this? This turned into mostly just how much I like the characters in Elbaf. If I were to strictly reorganize it to how much I like the characters in Elbaf, I think I would actually put Colin last. Although I was the one who chose to put Gunko last, not you guys. I think Colin just annoys me. It's like a fucking grown-ass 20-year-old man yelling, take me with you, take me with you, take me with you. I'm going to go ahead and just executive decision. Gunko, Colin. I think I would also move Ange down one. Then Goldberg, Stanson, and Mato, and the Walrus Principal guy, I feel pretty neutral about. I'd even move Mato above the Walrus Principal guy. These are my rankings now. This is how I would rank him. Walrus Principal guy needs to show me a little bit more. Mato just seems like a nice person. Killing him, I'm sure will be cool down the line. I like killing him better than Hadruden because I don't like Hadruden so far. We'll see. Got to get past Machvis and the Moose. I like Roto, comic entertainment. Jarl, comic entertainment. Gerd, turning out to be a very likable character. Sommers is a cool God's Knight. I think he's the God's Knight that's been the most fun so far. Oh, fuck, I fucked up. I forgot to put fucking Scopper Gaban. My bad. Ripley, obviously cool warrior woman. Shamrock, obviously exciting villain for the arc. Scopper Gaban, just an extremely likable character, great introduction. And then Loki, maybe the most interesting One Piece character we've had in, like, I don't know how long. Like, phenomenal character. shaping up to be, at least so far. Potentially with a really good tragic backstory. All right, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in. I do appreciate it quite a bit. And yeah, I will talk to you all later.